All right, welcome to the Sae Bae cast number 207 with Faye Papi. Papi, how we doing today?
Pretty good. Uh, just doing my farm run at the moment. Um,
Oh, nice. You're,
no,
you're
no
doing
complaints.
you're doing the gig of gaming during the cast. I respect it. I'm just running some
Yeah,
rooftops. Been doing that for the last feels like 10 episodes at this point. People are getting sick of the Relica
yeah,
course.
yeah. I've watched a few. I feel like the XP didn't even go up between some. I think it was.
I know.
I don't know if it was back to back. It was just the only place you were training, but a lot of Relica.
Yeah. Relica's pretty chill. I mean, the best part of Relica, in my opinion, and let me just caveat by saying all the rooftops suck ultimately, but like I'm just relative to other rooftops, Relica's probably my favorite, just because there's like limited failing. There's only one spot where you can fail, and that failing ends at 85, so it feels reasonable.
Yeah,
And yeah, I think I've
failing rooftop sucks.
oh, it's
Like they
dreadful.
that yeah. Nah.
Yeah, so let's get a brief intro of who you are. I imagine your name is familiar to the super giga chads in the community, the elitists. I should call the elitists the giga chads. The people that play a lot probably have recognized your name.
Yeah.
You're on the top leaderboards, but yeah, let's get a brief little bio of who you are as a player.
Cool. I'm Faye Papi. I'm currently ranked 15 Ironman. Uh, if you use Twitter, you also have seen me talking about Mixology on the weekly blog posts, which is a pretty hot topic in the Ironman community, I would say. Um, I mostly do skilling, although in the skilling community, I'm kind of known as a PVMer. Um, I I've kind of completed PVM in the sense that like I have all the good gear, and I got bored of PVM, and that's why I started skilling. Because like there's just some absurd grinds. Like, do I really want to spend like what 2,000 hours a corp? Like, no, not really. Or like nightmare. Uh, so
Don't get me
after I
started with that.
maxed,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I know you had your experience at nightmare. Um, um, yeah, I was maxing like passively on the side, and I was like tobbing on the main. I was getting into like sort of PVM speed running. Um, but I realized like skilling was actually kind of fun. And one of my friends was like he was watching a bunch of like the Skilling Clan podcasts, and then he sort of got into post max skilling himself. And I'm pretty competitive, so I'm like, fuck this guy. I'm gonna play more than him. And then he quit pretty quickly, but I've been here ever since.
He baited you.
Um,
He was just
yeah,
yeah,
he kind of did to be honest.
the old
But
bait
that's
and
cool.
switch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
cool. So you're and let me also just say, I mean, you're rank 15 on the
yeah,
Ironman overall leaderboards with over 3.5 billion XP. Jesus Christ.
yeah.
Did you ever think like you would get to this point? I listened to your I mean, I listened to your most recent ramble. Nice. I'm,
Yeah.
by the way, I just got to say, huge fan of ramblers. So I appreciate you
Yes,
adding to
I
that
as well.
space. Thank you. So, did you ever think you would be a player where you're at now?
It's like hard to say like for sure because a lot of people like they'll go like, oh, I'm gonna finish 200 more. I'm gonna finish like whatever grind, and then they burn out. Like they find other interests, and it's pretty like you can't say I'm gonna get 200 mil or I'm going to complete the collection log. Like at least the reasonable paths. It's always like how do you commit yourself to a 4, 5, 6 year grind? But like I don't know. In my head, I kind of like did kind of like see myself like playing some like I've played RuneScape for God 10, 11 years. I think I started when free to play came out in old school, which was the second birthday, I think. So it'd be coming up on God 11 years. Um, like I've burnt out or like stopped playing or like played other games, but um, never in the last like 4 years while I've been skilling. Um, I don't know. I just love RuneScape. It's probably the best game to ever exist, and I just kept playing the game every day, and here I am. I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Just
Yeah, no, I always ask because I feel like people generally start with the idea that they're just playing this game casually. It's just a fun little game, and
yeah,
they might aspire. Like I see myself as years back. I mean, I've told the story many times. The first RuneScape Twitch streamer I ever watched was Randalicious, and I instantly just
yeah,
became fascinated by somebody that was competing for ranks because I remember as a young child hearing of the name the Old Knight and Zezima and just thinking like, holy fuck, like you are worshipped on this game if you're a high
yeah,
level. Like that is amazing. So and then of course jumping into high level skilling podcasts and stuff and just hearing the mindsets of these players and stuff was always fascinating to me. But I never saw myself as being, up there, even close. I just saw myself as a total noob. I was killing Falador guards and trying to get some ranger boots. Actually, I wasn't even
yeah.
intentionally going for ranger boots, but then I got them really lucky twice,
Oh,
and
nice.
just
Twice.
I was just newbie. Like I was just doing my fun little grinds, and I think I think I never quite even left. People could argue differently, but I never became a super, super, super efficient skiller. There was elements
Yeah,
of efficiency that I enjoyed, but ultimately, no, it was all about just having fun with the game and just taking it really far. That's what it ended up becoming.
yeah. I mean, like, there's obviously a difference between just like going for ranks, like specifically. But like if you just enjoy skilling and you just do it, like eventually you just kind of get there. Um, like I feel like there's a lot of people that just play the game because they enjoy it, and then they hit maybe 200 mil cooking, and they go, that wasn't so bad, and then they start to do other things, and then I don't know. It's like
Just slow.
RuneScape, like you can't go backwards, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
if you log in, you'll go forwards, and yeah, you don't necessarily have to be like super efficient to go far, but like it obviously helps. Like playing the game for a long time is the best way to progress in RuneScape. Really, like yeah.
And did you start as an Iron Man?
So I started. I don't know if it was before Iron Man came out. I actually don't remember, but I started as a main. Um, I don't even remember what I did. It was 11 years ago. I started when I started high school, so I was like 12 when I started RuneScape. I'd played like a little bit, and I say a little bit. It was a very little bit. In like 2007, 8. Like I remember the tutorial island. I remember killing chickens, but that was about it. Um, yeah, I started as a main. Um, God, it's so long ago. I think the only really memories I have of my main are one, learning Zulra, and that was funny because like there were no plugins back in the day, right? They were like 11 years ago. It was all very very different. I
Yep.
would learn a rotation, and I would go over it in my head at the school playground, like during lunch. I was like, if I go here, then I, then, yeah, then then the boss goes here, and then I stand here, and that's how I learned Zura. And then the next one, I was learning Chambers. I was a part of the Rakesy clan chat back in the day, and I'm still pretty good friends with like quite a few of the people I met there. Like, um, and I went along with him for a raid to like seven of us. Seven? There were about seven of us, and we actually got an ancestral like rogue bottoms on the first raid. The guy had like 3K points in his name. I was like
Wow.
170 mil, and I was like ecstatic, and yeah, it was such a different time because like we did Vespula, and we didn't like do the redemption method. We did the boss like as like you were
Yep.
supposed to kill the boss. Like,
Supposed
um,
to. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, that's like the real memories I have of the main. And then I think while I was getting more into chambers, I made the iron. Um, I think it's about 9 years old almost. I could check with hands, but
Okay.
um,
And this, you didn't start off as a hardcore, just start off as iron. Is that correct?
I
Or
don't think hardcore was out.
Okay, so it was
when
right,
I started.
probably right before 2016 then.
I don't remember when hardcore came out.
That was November 2016.
November 2016.
Yeah.
It was definitely before that. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't remember even having the option. But yeah,
Nice. So can I ask what your age is now?
I'm 22
Okay,
as of
you are
last
you
month.
are young, man. You
So
got.
I am.
Do you
Yeah.
feel
One.
young in this community?
Not really. Like I know like compared to like a lot of other people, like I am like very young,
Hmm.
but I feel like it's always been that way for me. Like I've always been the youngest, and it kind of just feels normal now.
Yeah.
Like meeting people my age makes me feel old because like there are a few people that like I've met recently. They're around my age, and it's like these guys are young. Like like you shouldn't be playing RuneScape, but like they're just my age.
Yeah.
It's like it's really I don't know. It feels really weird not to be like 5, 6, 7 years younger than people on this game. To be honest.
Yeah, you just got this like permanent like young. It's like that's how I felt just going through school. It felt like as soon as I got an element of feeling old, I was back to being young again. I was just back to being a baby.
Yeah.
Like wherever I'd go, the groups of people, I felt like the youngest. And then as soon as you kind of get to that older part, it's over. It just resets again. But now I'm at a point in my life where now I feel the median age. I just feel like I'm right in the center of like everybody in the old school community. 29 seems to be,
Yeah.
maybe 27,
Yeah.
28,
Most people
29.
seems to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always funny like when there are people in their 30s. That's prime jokes to be pulling out, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like
No,
it's not even
seriously.
that abnormal to be like
It's
that age.
not. It's
Like
not anymore.
yeah,
Well, it's because we grew up
yeah.
in a different generation. I mean, we had Game Boys and stuff. Like the
Mm.
the generation right before us, I mean, they had to go to the arcade and play like Pong and stuff. Like they didn't get quite as obsessed. I mean, I remember getting a home computer. I mean, the home computer completely changed so many of our generations. Well, I say our,
Mm.
I guess you're still kind of included in that, but you are slightly younger. But yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
grew up probably with, I don't know, iPod touches and stuff. Like just,
Uh,
I don't know if you had an
I had a
iPod touch necessarily, but
DS,
okay, yeah, I did too. I did too. Yeah,
and then I think I got an iPod Touch when I was like 10 or 11. I think like
that's
that's when they
crazy.
like kind of came out. Like I remember
Yeah.
seeing someone with one. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
amazing. I remember being
Yeah.
so obsessed with iPod touches back then. I loved them.
Yeah. I still remember some of the games like I used to play, and I tried to like play them again like recently, but like they don't exist, and it's
Yeah, they're just like
kind of sad to be honest because
wiped
I
from the
want to
store.
live that, but yeah.
No, I actually heard they. Oh man, what was it? It wasn't. It was like the helicopter game. It's like Flappy Bird, Flappy Wings,
Puppy
whatever.
Bird.
Flappy
Yeah.
Bird. I think it was that. It's some rumor of a device that still had the original Flappy Bird on it, and it sold for. I'm pretty sure. I want to almost say like tens of thousands of dollars or something,
That's
just
ridiculous.
because it was still downloaded and you couldn't download it again. Just like these
Yeah.
ancient artifacts basically. And dude, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of regret, like, because I had an iPod touch and I was upset. I mean, all I would ask for is iTunes gift cards, and my account was loaded with games. I mean, my iPod touch would
Yeah.
just get burning hot because it just had maximum capacity, 64 gigs at the time, just loaded with games. And man, if I still had that as like a relic, I could sell that for so much. And I kept really good care of my devices. These are the devices I had to pay for myself. My parents didn't buy me
Yeah,
shit, so I
yeah.
had to
I
like,
had the same, yeah.
yeah, just had to fucking slave away as it just finding odd jobs and stuff and like selling shit on Craigslist. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it just man, you could. I still think about it even today, like some of the thing, it always feels like you're living in the future, so you can never quite recognize that, hey, maybe something these days is going to be worth a shit ton if I keep care of it. Or even the one last example I'll bring up is there was the original iPhone that had just never been opened, and it sold for like $45,000 or something. Just you literally just buy something and just don't touch it for 15 years. Like, you just don't, and it'll turn into $45,000 later. Like
Yeah,
that's
Bitcoin, you'll be a
oh
trillionaire.
my
Like,
god, yeah, that's the
yeah,
craziest example, but
yeah. No, I mean, I think we have like a box of old electronics, and I'm pretty sure like all my old shit is probably like in there. So, I mean, I could have a rummage around maybe, but
yeah,
yeah,
no, I mean, just keep waiting. If you keep and keep waiting, I mean, some of the shit, if it's still functioning, you can eventually sell it. And there's always collectors, and that's a
yeah,
really fascinating thing to me. Is just thinking of people very much value these things that I would find completely worthless and junky.
mm,
I mean, it's just same thing with like Pokemon cards and Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like the value of some of these Pokemon cards, I just can't fathom it. But because I'm just not that kind of person. But there's people that like, holy fuck, like I would, just this means everything to me to have a collector's edition of this or whatnot. So
I mean, I think that the thing with like Pokemon, like they're like designed for like that a collector's item, right? Like that's what they're designed for. I think like the other stuff, like just old like antique devices, it's like a little bit different, I think, but
yeah,
it's. I mean,
yeah.
there's a trillion people in the world. I'm sure someone's interested in a bit of everything. So
My
yeah,
parents gave me and my siblings all we at our birth we had just some like random things given to us as kind of like like a baby gift sort of, and one of the things is like a pack of coins from that year that have never been touched by like human hands. It's just like a sealed container of like six different American like US coins
yeah,
basically, just, and you see them and you're just like, they're fucking worthless. It's just a fucking quarter and a dime, and what else is in here? But they're rare because it's of that year and they've never been touched before, so they're in pristine condition and stuff. And I think as well we got like a $2 bill, which is very rare in like the US. Like they stopped making them and stuff. And I always thought like, okay, well, this stuff's worthless. 'Cause I remember asking my mom as a kid, I was like, oh, how much is this stuff worth? Like, could I sell it right now? And she's like, it's probably not worth much at all. But eventually,
hold on to it.
yeah, just keep holding on. And, and my mom's really good with holding stuff. Who knows how much it would be worth if it might still be seen as kind of junky, even a couple decades later. But I don't know. It's people like collecting stuff like that. So,
Yeah, I mean, who knows?
so I am fascinated by the way you play. It reminds me of some of the glorious skill and grinds I'd go on Sae Bae. And right now, it sounds like you're doing a lot of two tick teaks, but it's not just two tick teaks.
Yeah,
This is some next level shit.
I actually
Yeah.
I finished that.
Oh, you're done.
I've moved on. Yeah, so uh for those who don't know, I'm pretty into like the math and like the planning and I guess like the macro efficiency of Iron Man, because like there's so many different ways you can do things. Um, and in my head, Kingdom Miscellanea banked 22 mil con XP a year, but it's actually like 29 if you do like Mahoney Homes. And so I was like, oh, I need all this extra con XP, but really I didn't. So I also another reason I kind of got cleared because I posted the YouTube video of the method, and then I got killed a couple hours later. So well, like I guess it is my fault because I was kind of streaming it. I guess the method itself, by the way, is it's two tick teaks on a PvP world. So you use like an alt to auto retaliate instead of the birds. And then I was also plank make spell on the log uh, between chops and cutting sturgeon every time I banked, and then to use like all the baskets and the sacks and whatever to
Yeah.
store those items. And yeah,
It's fascinating just how the game's evolved. It's so much more like there is so much more you can do. Sometimes it feels like every method has been kind of discovered, and we've squeezed out all the efficiency we can get out of these things. But no, I mean, something like that is just amazing to
yeah. I
see.
mean,
So
like you kind of like it does kind of feel that way, but I like another thing I am interested in is like pushing kind of the game, I guess, and I guess that's one way you can do it. Is like especially like multi-skilling like with all the sacks and storage items is um I guess a pretty obvious way of doing it, but there's so many like ways it can be applied. And I think it was kind of a combination of I was trying to find. I think you spoke about this with darts, but like a two-tick mining method. So I was playing around with like two-tick with mining, and then I tried wood cutting, and I also did winter tot.
Was that all with
And
food?
then uh, what do you mean with food?
Like, was that like using Karambwa ones? Like, is that how you're two taking, or was this all in PvP
Oh,
worlds, like
like
chucking darts?
auto
And...
retail. Yeah, yeah,
Okay, I see.
yeah. So you just like brew down to like zero
Yeah,
ring
yeah, yeah.
or whatever. Um,
Now,
Unfortunately,
sorry, just
sorry.
one interruption. Do you still have to deal with the PID swapping, where it just randomly?
You do.
Okay.
I was actually just about to say PID swap sucks. I wish it could be removed from the game because there's so many cool methods that aren't possible because of PID swap. And the thing with PvP world is it's more common. Like I think it's like 50% more common for PID swap in PvP worlds. So it's like even worse than just normal worlds.
Yeah.
And so it does remove the viability of a lot of cool potential methods. Like there was this interesting like mining path I found. It was like 2.5 tick, 7 granite, 2 sandstone in like the TOA spot.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is like in theory, like if you didn't lose ticks, it'd be like 150k an hour max. And like it was really
Wow.
fun to do. But you just lose way too many ticks to pit swapping.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
probably even worse
Even
than just 4G.
even throwing in the sandstone in that, it still ended up.
So, the thing with two tick, I actually, you were saying, in the cast with darts, like, there's probably someone that knows the math. I'm that someone.
Okay, let's hear
Um,
it.
so sandstone, because it already has such a high success rate, the double roll actually doesn't penalize it much, because it's like already 90% or something.
Yeah.
Whereas granite's like 70. So the double roll of granite like matters more. But I think the max XP now of two tick sandstone was like 148k if you're like two ticking sandstone the whole time.
Okay.
And then granite was like 153 or something. Whereas regular three tick four granite is 134. So it was pretty significant. Obviously, like you have to do like some three ticks and some two ticks and different rocks, and it probably would have ended up about 145, like all combined.
Okay, so this would have only been viable on a PvP world, and everything's
It
been
would have to be
two-ticked.
PvP world, yeah.
Yeah, everything. Okay, so yeah, that was actually my question with the darts. I was forgetful of like, okay, I remember being so obsessed with this mining back in whatever year it was, 2021 or whatnot, when I was just trying to discover all these methods, especially with the like whole autocast thing. That was when I was just going to town on it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I couldn't quite remember. So it was, you said about 153k if you were to be in a continuous two tick granite.
I can quickly check the DM with darts because I was telling him about it. Two tick sandstone 147, two tick granite 154.5.
Wow. And
Yeah.
all of this is assuming, all the, 99, everything. And then what is 3 tick 4G? Is that 132?
134.
134.
I like that,
okay.
that absolute perfect, yeah.
I see.
No ring dust.
Yeah, of course.
Just the passive effect, yeah.
And average rates. So again, for those, like you could surpass that in an hour, but average
the thing
long-term.
with average rates is the variance on skilling rates is actually very low. I think a lot of people they kind of don't realize like how insane like going 2k XP now over the rate just by RNG is. Like I think
Really?
the standard deviation on 4G is like 1.7k an hour. So
Okay.
only like 15 or 16% of the time you're going over 136 or whatever.
So what?
Yeah.
So when they say that is fascinating. See, these are the questions, like they make sense intuitively, but I just have never calculated these things. So I wouldn't understand like what's the rarity of even like you just said, going 2K above or below that rate if you were tick perfect. But now, have you analyzed the people that go for these 6-hour records?
Yes. So
yeah,
that was my
let's hear
motivation.
it. Okay.
So during the Terry comp, I was doing ZMI, so I had plenty of time on my hands. And one thing I was always, I guess, curious about was one, the mining record, and two, the plundering mining record, which I don't know if you know is he did a mining month on a level 3, and he beat Heiger's rate while not having, I think it's the Var up top. It's like
There's
9.8% less XP now.
There's no
And
way
he
he did that.
allegedly beat Heiger's record. There was a lot of skepticism about it. And the record was disqualified.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, there's no possible way he did that, and he thought he could get away with
actually,
it. Or what?
Speaking of
Okay.
mining month, it was actually just beaten a couple of days ago by Gaduzu, who got 67 point something mil. So he beat Heiger by 3.5, 4 mil almost, which was ridiculous. So shout out to him.
My bad. I misheard. I thought you were saying a 6-hour record with the level 3.
Right.
I see. So
yeah,
that could have still been possible
month.
with the level.
It would have been possible,
but he would have had to have like no sleep whatsoever, basically.
Yeah, there was there was a whole like document written about his mining month, and some of like there was a J mod that said we've looked at his account, he isn't cheating, but one, I don't think there's much trust in the anti-cheat team, and two, there was like so much circumstantial evidence.
What about the ring? Would the ring have played any
part in this? The ring.
Or I guess everyone
with
could
the
use
dust
it, right?
is like one. Well, you're not allowed to use banked dust for like record attempts. You can use like within a month or a week. You can. I mean, I believe it's allowed. You can mine stars and use that dust.
Okay, so you would just basically try to find a star if you're like taking a nap or something.
Yeah,
I see.
Yeah. I would assume that's like allowed. It would be unusual to not be, I think.
Yeah.
So people are wondering, hey, record a clip of you mining, so we can see that you can actually do the method. And he recorded a 20-minute clip. Took him a few attempts to even get one, and he was getting such an absurd rate, missing so many ticks. And I was like, what's the probability that this is done legitimately without Stardust? And I ran, I put up a little quick calculation, simulated it how many times.
Yeah.
It was 0.17% chance that he got that rate using no Stardust. So
yeah.
Definitely,
likely.
yeah. And then, the other one I wanted to check was Krimpsk's mining record, which, assuming you lose 0 ticks, you perfectly log in and out and update. It's like 17%.
Now that's for a 6-hour.
That's for 6 hour.
And what did he average? Do you know what he averaged per hour? Because it goes slightly over 6 hours, correct?
So it's, for those who don't know, it's 6 hours and 6 minutes technically is the most amount of time, because you don't actually get logged out on a 6 hour.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you get logged out at the minute interval. So if you log in like right after the minute starts, you get like 6 hours and 58 seconds or whatever, and then there's a 5-minute gap between our data points. So it's a little bit under 6 hours, 6 minutes, and he got 821k.
So what is that? What does that calc to exactly? If he did get that perfect 6-hour, 6-minute window, what is the average XP per hour that he achieved? Do you know that?
I think it was 134.7.
Okay. Wow.
I mean, I could check in 10 seconds. There's a video on the records page.
And it was all recorded as well, right?
Yeah. So nice. For 6-hour records, as of a couple of years ago, you have to submit like a full VOD recording. Because there have been cheating in the past. It's definitely a lot harder now because the high scores work better. Like there used to be really big issues with the high scores. But yeah, 134.7. Yeah,
that's wild.
So only 600 XP an hour over the rate, long term, and that's 17% chance to get.
That is crazy. So for those listening, like even if you were absolutely perfect, you got the thing set up so you can just squeeze that extra minute and everything, 6 hours and 6 minutes. and you were absolutely
Yeah.
tick perfect, you still only have a 17% chance of beating that.
Which, to be honest, to some players I've talked to, that's a good enough rate. Um, so like there have been people saying like, "Oh, that's it. Like it's only like it's not worse than that." They're like surprised, and it's like, well, I don't know if that's a good thing. That like on average, it's going to take you like 40 hours, assuming you can play
Yeah.
Tick Perfect for that long.
And
Like
being tick perfect, because that was the other
yeah,
thing I wanted to ask. Like, did you analyze that video? Did he lose a couple double rolls? Did
I
he lose
I
any ticks?
I did not. I would assume he did. I think there was another player turn who got rank 2. Um, I think I was in we were like in voice during his attempt, and I think he missed like 2 ticks. Um, and then he got like a couple hundred XP less. He was actually pacing to beat it by a substantial amount until the last 30 minutes, and he just got
Oh, the
fucked by
RNG just
RNG. Yeah,
fucking hey, dude. That's gotta be
although
tilting.
he was actually kind of relieved because he was like, Crimp deserves this. Like he just one shot it. That was like I think his first ever attempt. But
I see,
Crimp like put in so much time, and he's so
bro.
dedicated to records, and yeah,
Okay, I would be mauling if I started
yeah,
seeing, because when you're getting a good hour. I mean, I've done
yeah,
so many
yeah,
hour long, skilling videos where I'll be like, okay, this is I'm getting crazy RNG right now. Like, this feels
yeah.
great, but then it slows down. You're like, fucking A, yeah, all
I
balances
think I
out.
was more upset than he was that he didn't get it. To be honest, which is pretty funny. But yeah.
So what do you think is like what has the highest skill ceiling when it comes to 6 hour records in skilling in across
It
the board?
it's so hard to say because everyone has their different strengths. Like to me, like 1.5 ticks would be the hardest. Granted, only like very very not far behind. And that's just because like personally I can't do that. Like I can do the method like fine. I can get the rate above the rate. I lose so many tick. I don't have the hand capacity to click that much that accurately and never fail. Like after 20 minutes, my clicks go to shit. Um,
Yeah,
so
no, what 1.3
either of those would be the hardest for me for sure.
tick 4G is like softball compared to 1.5 tick teaks. I mean, truly, like 1.5 tick teaks is fucking brutal. And I imagine you kind of have to use a crystal two-handed axe or whatever. Is that even a
Yes,
thing at this point? Like,
yes,
what is the
yes.
max rate right now of doing 1.5 tick teaks? It's got to be something fucking absurd.
People, we don't know because like mining is simple. Like there's 4 rocks. The
And
cycle's 12 ticks long.
you're never gonna have to
You can
wait for a
easily
rock to
yeah
respawn. Yeah.
you can easily calculate that probability. Teaks, there's like so many different scenarios. Like depending on which chop you chop this certain tree, and then like there's RNG between the respawn times. Like um, we're actually so amongst um, I guess my group of friends, there's this like joke called like Teaks discussion, and it's like people start talking about like tick saves and shit at Teaks, and it's like sometimes it kind of not pisses people off, but it's like oh here we go again kind of shit. Um,
I love it.
so we were discussing Teaks. I think this guy called Ben or Umru. He's really interested in like pushing methods like that, and we were calculating like because a tree can respawn in 16 or 17 ticks, a teak tree, um, and that's based on which roll chops the tree down. So if it's the first roll, um, it's 16 ticks, and if it's the second roll, it's 17 ticks.
Wait, wouldn't it be
Um,
the opposite?
I don't think so. I think because it's something to do with like the first roll of the
Oh,
stall.
oh, oh,
It's
oh,
like the
you would
overkill
be
kind of like
right.
PvP. I think
But if you
I
would,
don't know
if you
that's
got two rolls, if you got the first and the second, then it would be a 16 tick, correct?
no, it's 17.
Really?
Yeah, I think because if you get 2 rolls, it's like the second roll has to be the one that depletes the tree, and then like there's like
Ah,
no overkill because of that one.
I thought
Um,
that would have been the. I thought that meant that's the overkill. I thought it would only be underkill. I actually assumed that the 17 tick would be less often well, actually, I guess I actually don't know the success rates of these logs. So I'm speaking out of turn there, but like I thought, and you would know more, obviously. I guess I'm just like checking you just to make sure, but I guess it would make sense either way. But my intuition was that if the first roll was successful and not the second, then that would mean it's going to be a slower respawn. But maybe you're right, actually.
I don't know how it works, to be honest. All I know is, well, we are pretty sure that that's how it works. Like, you know, there's been discussions with some of like the like Port Gazard, like the really smart players, to kind of figure out, and that's what we think is happening.
Okay.
Obviously, you know, we don't know the code, but that's.
I see. Because I was just basing it off of like a scythe swing. You know, if you
Yeah,
get the multiple hit spots, it dies. You know, actually, in that case, oh wait. Now thinking about it, now it actually does make sense. Because now when I just thought about it in a PVM situation, wouldn't the boss actually respawn slower if you killed it faster? Because actually, okay, now I'm getting fucking confused.
It dies a tick quicker. So yeah. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. But like, yeah. So
it does matter, and I'm gonna be that obnoxious guy that's in the call, going on about this. Anyway, continue.
And so yeah, we can. It's pretty simple to calculate like the probability of each like outcome occurring, and then so it ends up with like a 82% chance or something that if you get a single roll and the tree depletes, then it was the first roll, and the tree will respawn in 16 ticks. And so you can like, it's worth playing around, because if you're a tick late, you fail the roll, you lose time. But like it is actually worth, like, depending on the tree state, like risking losing ticks in order to gain ticks.
Oh, that's
with
fucking
the
dope.
respawn time.
That's a fascinating method.
There's so many small things. It doesn't make that much of a difference in terms of like just doing the method, but for like records, it's like really important. But based on like the best players' best hours, we've guessed that the tick perfect rate is somewhere around 255 to 56k with Crystal Two-Hand Axe. And then you can calculate, like, based on like average long-term play, you can estimate like natural tick loss per hour from the trees despawning or depleting and stuff. And anyway, I think the Crystal Axe, Two-Handed Axe is, when it was introduced, because I think it kills 20% of your logs or something like that. Whereas the Infernal Axe was 33%, and also had a lower success chance. So that update kind of introduced, like, it made the method more APM, because there's more like logs you have to drop and stuff like that. So
yeah, and nobody was using the default Crystal Axe, even though that technically was more efficient even back then. It was just not.
It actually wasn't more efficient, because like the fire making XP I meant from Infernal Axe was.
Yeah, I meant for record, just for record's sake. You're right.
I think there are competitive records and uncompetitive records. So a competitive record is what you do, like the efficient method, whereas uncompetitive records would be stuff like crystal bodies, or stuff that's like faster XP, but like, you know, how do you just have 20 bill in the bank? Like, you don't, like, really. So the Crystal Axe was kind of probably a fine line between whether it should be accepted or not, but no one really did it. So
one of my, this is just like a personal preference. It's upsetting because I feel like we never get this really nice middle ground skilling round. I think there's several, I guess, in the game, but there's not as many as I would like. And what I mean by like these middle ground skilling methods is, like, imagine we had 1.5 tick teaks, but it just, there was no dropping to it. And I'm not saying, you know, destroy this super, you know, prestigious sort of skilling method, but rather it would just be so nice to have a method that's not like straight up causing carpal tunnel. Like, and it would be something you could actually truly enjoy, like, long hours, and feel like you're, I don't know, just kind of enjoying yourself, but you still get all the cool elements of 1.5 tick teaks, of, like, you know, checking the 16 versus 17 tick thing, and making sure you're
Yeah.
understanding when the trees are respawning. So you get all the nice elements without all the extreme dropping. Because like what you said, I mean, I'm with you where you do 20 minutes of 1.5 tick teaks, and it's just like, Jesus Christ. Like, unless I'm streaming this and I'm trying to like show off, not even show off, but just like, provide content that shows that I'm, sweating. Because when I'm on a camera, I'm going to try harder than if I'm not. But like, if I was just like an average player, like, fuck that. Like, fuck all the dropping and everything. Like, I'm going to try to find anything more chill. And then the problem is, generally speaking, the more chill methods are like significantly more chill and way less going on mentally. Like, you don't even have to like think, just brain off.
Yeah. I think to reference the darts casting, I feel like I'm doing that a lot, but
No, I
shout
love
out
it.
darts. That guy is
Yeah, it was
he
great.
is the nicest, I love. He's so cool. But I think you're talking about like uh I think it was like in Prif you could have like a log like you would like bank the logs at like a location so you could two tick and then go back to it. I actually like really liked that idea, and I think you could kind of have something like with 1.5 ticks as well, like on Fossil Island, if you because you build the little stuff around the camp, right?
Yeah.
Like imagine if you like built a little storage space and you could dump logs in it, like
Yeah.
somewhere nearby. Like I feel like it wouldn't like ruin Iron Man construction meta. I don't think, because like currently you just 1.5 ticks and then take them to the bank, and then teleport back. But I feel like having that option, even for players who like don't really want the logs, you could
Yeah.
do the method. And you wouldn't lose too much. Like obviously you'd have to spend a couple of ticks to put it in the place, but you'd save a lot of clicking for sure.
Yeah, there seems to be a mindset where like, okay, if you're doing that, it's kind of like a slippery slope. Like, we don't want everything to be like that. But in my opinion, it being 2025, I'm like, dude, like, we have to, like, we've already seen skilling become nicer. Like, they purposely designed these triple iron rocks, for example. Back in the day, it was just like, if you find a triple iron spot, it was just pure luck. It's just like Andrew Gower just somehow put three of them together. But nowadays, you see spots where, okay, this is intentional. It's intentional for you to go to the mining guild and have this nice little triple spot right here, and you can bank it relatively quickly. And I feel like going down that direction more and more and more just makes more sense. And this is me, like, I understand the kind of old school feel of like power skilling where you're dropping all your resources, but I think skilling across the board to the average player is seen as just the worst content. Like, nobody likes skilling. It's not profitable in any way, generally speaking. Again, I'm more speaking to like the average player that just hates skilling and feels like they need to do it. But if you were to just really start drilling down on like feeling like you're actually kind of accumulating resources, because that's when skilling feels really good, in my opinion, is when you're actually building up a stack of resources. As soon as it's just everything's being dropped on the ground, like, okay, well, I just did my session of this. Do I have anything to show for it? No, nothing. Like, what was all the skilling for then? Well, I was trying to max out my XP rates. Like, I don't know. It's just bad design, and I think we could do more. Like you said, even if it was an expensive sort of log box there, right next to the squirrels that are at the hardwood trees, just build this thing, put some gold leaves in it potentially, and have this expensive thing that delivers to the bank. That would be phenomenal.
Yeah, I think like, I mean, skilling's not been profitable for a while, and I guess we can thank PVM for that, and I guess also bots. I, in terms of like power creep, can you really? I don't know if like if like making skilling profitable again like requires you to make like for rune crafting, you all of a sudden you're making 60% extra runes, and that's like that's a lot. Like the rune price is like tanked after that. It's like you can make skilling profitable, but like there is like other effects of that, and maybe there's like other ways to like make it profitable, or like you stack up resources, but I don't feel like necessarily dropping resources is a bad thing. I think like if every skill was like hey, you do the thing and then you drop it, it would be a little unusual.
Hmm.
But I don't think it's the worst thing for like some skills to have that identity and some skills have other identity. I think like making every skill kind of the same is probably not a good idea, but um, giving more options, I think is also good.
Yeah.
Um,
No, that's
yeah,
fair. I think there will always be, even if you were to implement these changes, like I've mentioned, there would still be a place where dropping it's always going to be the most efficient because it's zero tick loss.
yeah,
I just feel like minimizing that disparity between the two of banking resources and not. I mean, it's drastic at this point with many methods. Like
yeah.
if you wanted to, first of all, there's no reason to bank a granite, but can you imagine like the amount of time loss you'd get like if you were like banking granite or something like
Oh,
just
that would be awful.
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
but yeah,
yeah.
continue.
Like there's not really, like skilling locations aren't really close to banks, like for the most part.
Hmm.
Like there are a lot of teleports, like with the fishing cape, you go like right next to Otto's Grotto, right? But
Yeah.
for most players, you're not fishing after 99, so it's like, well, that doesn't really do much. Like there is like the Xeric talisman, I guess, for that fishing spot, which is pretty good, but um, a lot of places, like yeah, it's definitely not viable to bank resources.
Yeah.
So
And
it wouldn't be the worst idea, I don't think.
yeah, I'm all about it. I think the changes they made with gem mining. I don't know how big of a fan you are of that. I know Jukebox Romeo was a huge fan. I've always been a fan of gem mining, and when they finally got rid of that tick delay mining rocks,
Mm,
I mean, gem mining is just, in my opinion, so perfectly balanced. And then you also, it's just very minimal dropping. If you need to drop a few opals,
yeah,
but ultimately, and by the way, I actually think that should go too. I think the gem bag should easily hold all gem types. I don't know why it can't hold the
yes,
lesser gems. Like, what
yeah,
the fuck?
that's a little weird, to be honest.
And
Yeah,
can we please at 99 Crafting stop crushing gems? Jesus Christ.
yeah. That is like, yeah, I would agree with that. Like for Slayer, you need to mind your topaz,
Yeah,
and it's like they're pretty rare, right?
yeah, yeah.
And then you crush one, and it's like fuck,
Dude,
like
dude,
it feels really bad. But
I swear to
even
God.
like 50 craft, like because like you probably need like 30 crafting or something. Like
Mhm.
why even at 99? It's definitely a little unusual.
Yeah,
I would say yeah.
yeah. No, I mean, even if they were to just get rid of crushing entirely, I wouldn't just get rid of the mechanic. Like like we never had it with sapphires up through, whatever. Why does it now need to be with it? I understand there's like some lore, like, oh, these are more brittle, but like, dude, if they were to just completely eliminate that, just unpolled, nobody would have a fucking issue with that. Nobody.
I mean, other than making an unfold change, which I think a lot of people would have an issue with,
That's
I
true.
don't think
That's
like the
true.
change itself necessarily is that bad. Like if they pulled it in the past, like I wouldn't
Hmm.
like get upset. I don't. I'm not going to go around brigading for stop crushing gems
Yeah.
poll.
No, no, no.
Like
You're
it's
right.
not
You're right.
that big of an issue, but
Maybe I went a bit
yeah.
overboard. But if it was polled, even I wonder. The 70% threshold is a lot more lenient. I bet if it was polled to just stop crushing lesser gems, it would probably pass, most likely.
It would pass with 95 plus
Okay.
percent. I
Okay.
would think,
Yeah.
yeah.
So.
Um, but to gem mining,
Mhm.
sorry, like
Yeah.
it. I think the change was really good. I did a lot of gem mine before the change because I finished Slayer like a while ago. It kind of sucked. Like the stall felt really bad, and
Mm-hmm.
them removing it was like, oh my god, like it definitely like improved the flow so much. And it's not like OP because like there's less dropping than 4G, but it's like still competitive XP rates. Like I think it's like 115, 120k
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
versus like 125, 130. Um,
And then you're also getting
I
the nice pet chance. You're also
oh yeah, it's BIS for pet chance,
and you're
right?
and you're and you're banking crafting. I mean, if you're trying to efficiently craft, you're not banking as much just because there's so many opals that are fucking horrible to just be sitting there doing, unless you're running to your two tick teak spot and some. Actually, no, you couldn't even do that. There's no way to like hold them. But yeah, no. But what I love most about it is it's kind of a more dynamic method. Like there's camera movement going on, and there's the one tick banking and stuff like, which is kind of cool. Like you're ending the cycle and you do
Yeah,
that, and it's a little bit different than 3-tick 4G, and I think those two are such a good spot, in terms of like right now difficulty.
Yeah, I definitely prefer 4G. Like I don't like dislike like gem mining, but
Mm-hmm.
I like
Something more soothing
the
about
craft.
3-tick 4G as well. It's just four
There
rocks,
is
no camera movement, just go to town.
like gem mining has its place, and like if you're like a main and you're like you don't play alts, and uh, it's actually probably a really viable method because of you make so much money. Like like doing mining that way is I feel like an easy introduction to tick manip because there's no dropping
Mm-hmm.
and you make money and train pretty efficiently. So like I think it's like gem mining's in like a perfect spot. But I definitely I don't know if it's the camera movement or what it is, but I think
Well, it's the camera movement, but then it's also like the forced lost ticks. Like you can't actually maintain a 3-tick cycle, which just feels odd. So if you're in this perfect 3-tick flow compared to granite, just that feels good. As soon as you're running to the next gem rock, that's 2 extra ticks away. It's like, okay, there's something like
yeah.
subconsciously that's just like, this doesn't. There's something off
It,
about this, even though it
it
takes a
might be
little bit
that
more.
I'm not sure though.
That's what I would probably say, just based on my own
And
experience with it.
the crafting itself isn't that valuable.
Of
Like
course, with
the
efficiency.
crafting matter is yeah for efficiency it is like gems most gems aren't even worth cutting at the bank if even if you just have them in
Yeah.
the bank as an Iron Man. Obviously like multi-skilling them is very good because the gem bag is pretty strong for that. But yeah,
What would you think about a gem bag that holds not only cuts but uncuts? That would revolutionize a lot of skilling,
cuts
I
but
think.
uncuts.
So it could hold both and 60 of each. Just like instantly cutting them, dumping them back into the gem.
It would save a lot of money. Um,
What do you mean by that?
What's
No, I was talking
cuts?
about like the
Well,
multi-skilling aspect of it.
yeah, well, because I've done a lot of multi-skilling with the gem bag. Like I did over 100 mil XP with Sep with gems.
Oh, are you just?
You just drop them,
Oh, okay.
and
I was gonna say.
so yeah. Like I'm dropping rubies, I'm dropping diet. Well, actually, I out like a little bit of diamonds, but I definitely dropped most of them.
I see. I see.
Which I guess for most people would feel like shit.
Oh
But,
yeah,
but
I would
like,
feel like fuck that. I'm not doing
because
that.
yeah. But like to me, they don't have any value.
Yeah.
Like I have enough in the bank if I need to make any jewelry or whatever.
And
But
you've mapped out,
to me,
how far you are from 200 mil all,
yeah.
so it's irrelevant.
Um, I I don't know. To be honest, it would yeah. It might be cool. Like there's nothing necessarily like important about dropping the gems themselves, but
I actually like
I
that
think
you're on. I like that you're pretty okay with it sounding like you're not like for it, like you wouldn't push for this, but you're not against it simply because it wouldn't fucking change anything in the meta.
yeah, I think like
Yeah.
changing things for the sake of making them easier is definitely not something I'm like, oh, we should always do this. But like, if it makes sense and it's not like game breaking, it's like if it's gonna make some people's lives easier and make no one's lives hard. Like, I don't think there's anyone that's gonna put up the wall at putting the gems back in the gem bag. But
Yeah.
I definitely don't think. I mean, its intended use wasn't even to take gems out; as to put gems in from like mining or something like that. And I remember because you have to fill the gem bag outside of the bank interface, so you have to put gems in, go into the bank, take them into your inventory, close the bank, etc.
Oh, there's no fill option, is there? Just
There's
empty.
no fill option. And I tweeted at Ash a couple years ago, and he was like, "Well, this wasn't the intended use. Um, yeah, the intended use was to bank the gems. But
I hope that would be a nice change, just to even
if
have
it
that option.
changed, like I don't think it would harm anyone. Like,
It's just
but
convenience for those
yeah,
very small group of people. But yeah,
yeah, it would be nice to have like hundreds of thousands of sapphires and emeralds in the bank. But
that's actually
they have no value to me, so like
yeah.
I don't really care.
That's actually another question I have. Just talking about, how you see your account. Do you see it kind of as a trophy account? Do you see it as kind of like this? one of the things, the reason I'm asking this question, which I haven't even fully asked yet, but is because I see players like Iron Higer or DK, and it seems like, they're very much rushing the 200 mil all grind, and they've achieved it, and it's just like put everything into it. Like if anything's efficient, like just send every possible resource that's efficient and stuff, and it ends up like your bank by the end is not even super high valued. Like you would think somebody that's on that much content would be just 50 bill plus of just resources and all this shit, but they've used so much of their stuff. So I wonder, to you, like, do you have plans of playing post 200 mil all? What do you kind of have it doesn't sound like you have this mindset, but like for me, I was always a player like I want to keep my stuff. I want my bank to look juiced. Like I want it to look just fucking packed to the brim in some ways. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I guess first of all, I do plan to continue playing. It's not just skilling that I enjoy in RuneScape. I enjoy like all aspects. I want to try clogging. It doesn't seem that appealing because like RNG to me is pretty boring. Like if I had it my way, which I don't think would be good for the game, but in my world, you would get every drop on rate exactly, and never before, never after. Just because like you know what you're committing yourself to. It's like I will kill 500 Bandos and I'll get the drops, because that's like kind of why skilling is so fun. It's like, well, you need a couple hundred KXP to level, like you do that and then you achieve the goal.
You gotta be a little bit louder with that caveat. There's gonna be some listeners that are like, this guy wants to break the game. You did state very clearly this would be bad for the game, so just reiterating that is important.
For almost all the players, that would suck. Yeah. But for me, like,
just imagining one drop, you get all the drops. Like boom, there's the rate. You got it all.
Yeah. Fucking yeah. On the Coxsave, there's like 5 drops in each part. You just get all at once. But I hate going dry.
Yeah.
Especially. Like getting a drop early feels so good, and like I've kind of had both spectrums. Like I got my T-bow at 25 KC, which was ridiculous. Like I was in a 10-man raid,
Jesus.
And I got 25 KC T-bow, and I was like over the moon ecstatic. I went a little bit over rate on Scythe, and then Shadow came around, and I went like 40 purples or something. And I hate tier weight. That raid sucks. I don't enjoy almost everything about it. The only thing I enjoy is in Rage Wardens, because it's like, there's so much going on. But
and the worst part is you did all 40 of those purples without a shadow, which
that is definitely the worst part, because the raid takes 35% longer. I could have been done quick. I on release, like I did TOA with my friend. We're in a duo. It was like the morning of day 2. We got, I think it was our first purple. He got a shadow in his name. And I was like, fuck, if that was just me and I had a shadow for like the whole TOA grind from the start, I would have had so much more fun.
Yeah.
Because like having the shadow for the raid makes the raid more fun.
I know. And it's
much
much more fun too. I mean, it's even more powerful in the raid. It's got a 4x multiplier, which I think is stupid, by the way. I think weapons should not be more. I understand that balancing, because they realized the T-bow was outperforming it in cases, but like, bro, just you gotta do some rebalances on like the stats of the monsters, rather than just arbitrarily making a weapon much more powerful in a situation. To me, that's like, it just fucks my OCD up so much, knowing that the Fang and the Shadow are just randomly better here and not anywhere else. It's just bizarre to me.
It's definitely not great, but like they introduced the T-bow with its like mechanics. They introduced the Shadow with its mechanics, and they kind of just have to deal with that now because of like like what do you do? Do you change the way the Shadow or T-bow works? Like that's going to be very hard to do. Like obviously, like they had the mage rebalance, which I wasn't the biggest fan of, to be honest. But like,
what do you mean by
rebalance the T-bow?
Are you talking about just the gear, like the ancestral and stuff, got all kind of?
Yeah, they shuffled around all the magic bonus and stuff.
I will say the occult, always felt so powerful, and now I've been doing some LMS here and there just to build up some blighted stuff and rune arrows, and it's like most of the time, if I was on some different, if I was on like the Zerker mode or something, I would see the occult and instantly like use it, just like, oh, fuck yeah, like 10% magic damage. This is great. But now it's like, I can't even remember what it is, like 5 or 6%. I'm like, fuck this. I'm not using this garbage.
I mean, like, objectively, like, the item was really strong. And if you went from having no occult into the game to having an occult plus 10%, like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But, like, it's been that way for so long, and I feel like changing everything to make the occult not as strong was probably unnecessary. Like it definitely doesn't make sense that Ancestral was 2% magic damage, and like the gear upgrade like didn't feel that useful. But I don't know if it was stopping anyone from were there really people who were saying, I'm not going to go get Ancestral because it's not that good?
Well, it was more. Yeah, like I'm taking your point. Like I was a big fan of the change. Ultimately, I think just balancing gear across the board is just better. But I think what also sucked is like just how. I mean, even right now, I mean, you got no in that game when you have an amulet that's 10% magic bonus and there's nothing else prior to it. So it's just like you have to hit 93 Slayer and then you get this. Like that just felt so weird. And I mean, still they haven't fully addressed it. I think hopefully in the future there's some like even if they were to make it so like the basic magic amulet, like a sapphire amulet gave like a 1% or 2%, like I would not be against that. I kind of like those small changes where like just an item means something. But yeah, I was a fan of the change. I understand that ultimately, like when you get used to a game, making any change is just going to feel foreign. And it's ultimately like for a lot of people, it just feels less fun. It's like, damn it. Like I got used to this and now you changed it on me.
Yeah. I think like balancing it is important. But like, I mean, to me, if they just added new occult upgrade reward and then became 12% or something, like I would have just been happy with. Like I don't necessarily know if it was stopping them from introducing any rewards. Maybe it was, but like maybe it also just would have been better to have the next set of mage robes at 5% or something. But
yeah,
the one thing I was confused at was the Seer's Ring, like 0.5% magic damage. I don't think will ever give you a max hit, so like it doesn't mean anything. So
I think it would. I think it would only mean something if there's another item that eventually has like a 0.5 somewhere and you're combining the two. Like I can appreciate the thought, but yeah, like there's.
Yeah, I mean I appreciate the thought, but like
just
what's the
make it
point?
one.
Like,
just make it one if you're gonna do anything. But
I mean, I feel like 1% maybe.
But
I mean, because like the
I'm
other
just
ring's
saying.
like 2, but yeah. Anyway,
I'm just saying, like, if you were to have, just a bunch of 0.5 stuff, eventually you'll get a max hit. If you had this lesser gear again, and I played a maxed iron for years and years, and so I would never see these kind of like lower stuff. But now like Infinity has some bonuses and stuff, so who knows? Maybe that extra 0.5 will be what you need to just get that extra max hit. You just squeeze it in. So
it might be, yeah, but like. For the people that would be in the situation to use the Seer's Ring, it probably wouldn't be. Like, unless you're like...
some weird account build, and you're just like...
unless you're like
in mid-game.
A pure, but DT2 locked because you don't want to do the quest.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Maybe, but... Yeah, like when you get to the stage, like... Either you camp in a Berserker Ring, if you're switching gear, because a Seer's Ring switch is ridiculous. Like you never bring in that.
Yeah.
You might bring a prayer ring or the explorer's ring if you're doing Slayer or something like that. Yeah, it feels a bit out of place. I just thought it was funny that they changed it because I feel like they changed it because people got upset that it didn't have any magic bonus. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think I'm more on board with balancing changes, even when if it makes sense, of course, and over because I mean I was a big fan of the blowpipe nerf personally. Like I just anything that makes sense, and they're trying to open up the the space for just new weapons like that. So, but yeah.
Well, speaking of, I found this one funny.
Okay.
They nerfed the blowpipe to open up the diversity in the range meta. And then they introduced the Bofar.
Yeah, yeah.
Mind explode. Why? That was really. I don't know what they were thinking. Like nerfing the Blowfire was a good thing. Like it was really strong. Introducing the Bofar. I don't like that weapon. I hate that weapon because like it was introduced, or it was the original blog or something was it will need charges, it will need arrows. Then they said, okay, we'll give it infinite charges. Then they said, okay, it's not going to need arrows. Like
I know.
so, every Iron Man nowadays is spawn on Tutorial Island, follow the Brassela guide, do CG, which is like that. I The weapon is so powerful, and it's more powerful than blowpipe because like blowpipe is gated by the darts and well the scales to some degree, but the darts are the main thing. Like because you know you're not spawning with a billion dragon darts on an Iron Man. As a main with the Bofar, it's as strong as it'll get. Like if it needed arrows, you know, all of a sudden you've got either you need rune arrows or amethyst arrows or dragon arrows. It's like it feels a bit more balanced. But like you just get that weapon and you beat the rest of the game.
It's just,
it
this is such an old discussion point that now you're resurfacing these feelings I had toward it because I was so fucking pissed that it wasn't going to use arrows. I'm like, this is how you balance a range weapon. Like you balance it based off of just the rarity of these dragon arrows. Like if the T-bow was just guaranteed, it's always shooting dragon.
Oh, that would be ridiculous.
I know. It's just like, no, there's balancing in this. Like, yes, it would feel fucking good if everything was just dragon arrow. Of course it would feel good, but like that's not game balance.
Yeah. I think there is a bit more flexibility nowadays with Valimor. Like I think I don't know if you can like if you do Perilous Moons, you can skip CG. I don't know if that's I think it might be. I think it's probably not as efficient as to get to late game, but like it's if you don't want to do CG, you can. Like no. I'm pretty sure the Atlatl is really strong.
Oh, it's fucking powerful. I was using that on big dogs, and Jesus Christ, dude! Like, and I would camp Ammonite crab, so my strength level was like 97, 98 by the end of it, and fucking A, dude! Like, you just bring a strength pot, and the other cool thing is you didn't need range pots. I mean, it would just boost your accuracy, I guess, but. Yeah. I mean, you would just bring a strength pot, which is really low level, and you'd show up with that Eclipse set and fuck things up. I mean, just it was brutal.
Which is cool because I feel like it makes more sense because it's like it's probably not as powerful, but it's like
no, I think in a lot of situations it like did outclass it, but it depended on your range level. Like in any situation where my range level, because my range level is like 80, and my strength is super high, like. Because of the disparity between those levels, like, dude, the Atlatl is going to outclass everything.
Yeah.
But even if it wasn't that, I mean, a lot of places, even with 99 range, 99 strength, like, Atlatl outclasses Blowpipe.
Really?
Yeah, in some situations. Not everything, but...
Like, Dragon Darts, Void, Rigor, like
maybe not everything.
You just mean in...
Yeah, maybe not everything, you're right. I think it was mainly just, like... in anguish and
yeah, that would make more sense.
One like just separate tangent is I loved Atlatl especially because Fury was very powerful with it. It's going off of strength bonus and it's also you're just taking your accuracy as well. So Fury all of a sudden became like this best in slot. It was great.
Yeah, I think they did a really good job with Valimor Part 1. I liked like Hunter Rumors, albeit a little too strong. A really unique and interesting way to train Hunter, I think. Perilous Moons look beautiful. The gameplay, I mean, like...
Have you done
I did the CAs there. I did the CAs. I rocked up in Torva and a Scythe and I killed the bosses.
Yeah.
And so maybe, like, definitely not the target audience, but I think for most people, like I think the area looks awesome. Like...
Yeah. No, a lot of things were done right, which just points out like a sore thumb all the things that feel wrong about it, which is just the stupid phasing where all of a sudden you have to kick a fucking ice block.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Some of
the special attacks are unusual, but like it's kind of hard to like nitpick things when they've introduced like so many new mechanics. Like maybe one of them is not gonna feel great, but like.
I know, but ultimately, like for me, I just see like there are ways to make this feel better. Simple ways. One of them is get rid of the null damage. Like, I'm sorry, if I swing my weapon when the thing is phasing, but I've already
Oh,
swapped,
yeah.
stop nulling that. Stop it. Like, that
Yeah.
feels shit as fuck. And
Yeah.
it's always
Nulling
felt
damage
shit.
is awful. Yeah.
So, like, get rid of that. Make it so you can still attack the bosses at maybe a minimal accuracy or something. Like, when you're walking around that fucking bowling ball and you're not doing
Yeah.
anything. Like, what is
Yeah.
this? Like, what? It's like it feels like you're patronizing us. Like, it feels like, we're teaching you little baby steps of how to, like, I mean, to be fair, there probably are some players that really appreciate just the very fucking baby steps
Yeah.
of that. But, like, Jesus Christ, like, you're slowing down the action. You're halting the action. I mean, this is just like not even slowing it down. It's just like, here, just take a fucking break. This would be the perfect. You know what? This is my conspiracy theory. I bet they introduced that simply so they could put advertisements down in the future. So they're gonna start shoving ads while you're walking around the ball and have a captcha to fucking do. Jesus Christ.
That'll be interesting if we ever see that. But no, I think like
Yeah.
because like it is very early to mid game content. Like I feel like for the target audience, it's like designed pretty well. But for like
Yeah.
a lot of players who might be collection logging or replaying the game on your account, it definitely feels a little not great. Like if there was ways to like Whisperer, like during a special attack, so you can attack it like you do. It's at 33% damage or something. So you can still like feel like you're continuing the fight
Yeah.
without just waiting. So something like that might have been nice, but yeah.
Yeah, it's just game design. It's like you gotta when people are testing this stuff. I mean, you just gotta be brutally honest. Like if things aren't feeling right, you gotta call it out. And like it was so apparent to me doing Moons. There's just glaring problems like that. Again, it's like they did so much so well. One of the amazing things that they decided to do was like you have one potion that you make and it does everything. Just thank you.
Yeah.
Like we don't want to deal with the fucking Buchu and the Golpar and all the other garbage. Like just give us a pot, give us the resources. And it's not just you're not just picking one herb. You're usually getting multiple, and you're usually getting multiple like grubs and everything. And the food heals you a fuck ton. Like it feels they nailed that department. And so again, because they nailed all these other things, the other elements that are negative are so glaring. It's just like I'm pissed off. Because
I mean, fair enough. I mean, I probably haven't done too like I did what 20, 25 kill count. Like I didn't
and
really pay much attention. I was just zoned out, kind of doing whatever. But yeah,
I talk so much shit on it because I want it to be like I know it has such fucking high potential to just be phenomenal, like just a phenomenal experience. But it's not phenomenal. In fact, most of the time I'll do 5 chests and be like, I want to get the hell out of here. Like I'm bored as hell. That's so sad.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, again, it's like this is just my nitpicky ass. I mean, it's the same way I see like rooftops. Like I'm running these rooftops right now. We just for 12 years straight. This is just, or I guess technically not 12 years, been 11 years since rooftops were released. But like, it's just been click the next spot whenever you want. Click it. Everything's jank as hell. It's just. Somebody actually just made a Reddit post just reminding me of how jank the Canifis course is. Where it's like, well, what are you doing? Are you flying on a broomstick? Are you pole vaulting?
Oh, yeah.
What's happening here?
God, I have fond memories of that broomstick because that was like the first thing I did on my account. Well, actually, the first thing I did was I played free to play. I mined 8k pure essence and I trained my RC for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then the next thing was get membership and go Canifis course for Graceful.
Nice.
And I spent so many hours on that broomstick. It was yeah, man, I wouldn't do it again, but
it's nostalgic.
It's yeah.
It's all mindset though, because I mean, doing agility on this account has like I saw my destination already. I think for so many new players, before you've ever, I'm gonna go crazy on this, but like before you've ever actually achieved 99 agility is completely insane. I mean, it's just like what the fuck. I mean, even getting full graceful, when you actually calculate the hours, like for the average player that's never done that grind, they're like, holy hell no, this is awful. But when you do it again, it's the same thing with maxing. If you've maxed once, the max grind, like you kind of like see it in a different light. Like, I can do this. I can do this again. If I needed to, just you kind of forget like how masochistic it really is. Yeah.
Like agility, like the rooftop, like I'm so thankful we have Seth because like it's such a more interesting way to train agility. But like I don't hate rooftops being a thing just because like I feel like they're so easy, and it's like if I want to just watch a TV show, I mean not that I do this, but like I could just go run Artie, and it basically doesn't feel like I'm doing anything, but I'm kind of preoccupied. But like if you're just sitting there staring at the screen doing Artie, you're probably gonna have a gun to your head. Like it's
Yeah. No,
maybe not that interesting if it's the only thing you're doing. Yeah.
I will only run these courses when I'm podcasting because it feels like nothing. Like I forget I'm
Yeah.
even running these courses. But and again, like there's a place for this kind of stuff. So it's I always need to say like I'm not against these methods existing, but man, if like there's so many people that hate agility, and there's good reason for it. This stuff is not fun in any way unless you just fully turn brain off, numb yourself, and just keep rationalizing like, this game's supposed to be just jank piece of shit. Like, I guess we just all get used to it. But I mean, I am really wanting a brand new course that'll just revolutionize agility, in my opinion, which is, again, it's hard. This is a hard thing to like illustrate in words, but you've seen the TOA skulls. You know how that feels where you're clicking, especially like the last pattern. If you're doing like a duo, that last little pattern, you're going back and forth, and you're just walking to them basically, but you're in this one tick pattern. Man, imagine they came out with an agility course where there's like a section, like a long section where you're one ticking some sort of skulls or, just some platforms you're stepping on, and you have to click every tick. If you mess up, you slip, you fall. But everything over time would become just brain off, and it's all rhythm. It's all just clicking. The next obstacle set can be a 2-tick thing where you're jumping these long platforms. And again, you have to click that every 2 ticks. Maybe there's a wall where you spam click up and stuff. Like just things like that where you're clicking obstacles. So it's not Sepulchre. It remains this sort of click box rooftop style where you're clicking the next click box, but the click boxes must be clicked on a timing. And it's not overly complicated, although when you're first learning it, you'll probably slip up a bunch. But once you get it down, it's just going to feel fucking awesome. It's going to feel great. I would love some sort of ninja warrior course that's very, very generous XP wise, hardly any GP incentive, maybe like a few cosmetics, but something that's actually lining up with Sepulchre in a way, like something that like by 99 you are getting 100k XP an hour, and it's chill. It's so chill, but again, you have to be engaged. It's not something where you can watch a TV show. It's like you have to be engaged, but it's going to be fun. Like you're going to have a good time doing it.
I get that, and it'd be cool because Sae Bae might actually train agility.
Ninja Warrior.
I think like there could be space for it. I think I don't exactly know because like I'm pretty far removed from like the really casual players that like maybe only play a couple hours a week. But I think like a pretty big aspect of it might just be doing agility because you feel like you need to train agility at that time. I think like if you're forcing yourself to do something you don't want to do in the moment, you're not going to have fun. Like it's never going to work. But if you train agility when you feel like chilling, and then you work towards one of your other goals where you want to be more active, I think that's a lot better of a way to go about, especially maxing. Like people generally focus on like one skill at a time, and it's like, well, maybe that's not the best approach, but like it is hard to see the game in this. For most people, multiple thousands of hours, and be like, okay, this is how I'm gonna plan my time and stuff. But I wouldn't be against like such a course. I think competing with Sep, maybe no. I maybe early, like in the because like when you on like Sep, it's like 50 something, right? Like. And then you get floor 1, and floor 1's not that great.
Fun. That's not fun.
Well, it's a good way to learn. So I think a lot of people, they go like, okay, I'm going to get 92, and then I'll go Sep. I think that's a really big mistake because you have to learn all at once. Like I think like 72 is probably the prime time to start because you get like
if you've never
floor 1, floor 2, but also floor 3 because floor 3, like the final obstacle, is probably for people learning one of the most difficult things to do, which is kind of funny because almost everyone universally struggles with it. But I mean, once you get it down, it's not very.
Yeah, it's just pattern recognition. Just like you figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in that mid spot before it, I feel like that would be a good option, and I was kind of a little disappointed with the Varlamore course that kind of wasn't something like that. Like I expected it to be like this. I think that they proposed as this like best in slot Marks of Grace option, and I don't remember if they said AFK or not, but like it definitely wasn't this Marks of Grace, and it definitely wasn't. It's the complete opposite of active, right? Like, isn't it like 3 clicks per minute or something? Like
It's low. It's something like that. It's
yeah,
pretty damn
like
low.
it's a way for people who don't want to train agility to train agility, but
Yeah.
for the people who do want to kind of put in effort at that level, there's not really anything.
Just to kind of counter. I mean, I know balancing is, whatever it'll be. I mean, I'm all about balance, but when I'm imagining this course that I'm kind of describing, where it's just constant engagement and constant clicking. I mean, you're clicking to the next thing, and but it's not draining. You're not having to knife log and then click anything. It's just, you're simply just in the game and you're clicking the next obstacles, and you're in a nice rhythmic pattern. And what I would love about it is, one, there really is no chance to multi-skill. This is not like Sepulchre where you have a huge straightaway and you start fletching and stuff. So there's already good balancing with that, where, okay, this is a full-on agility-only course. There's not going to be any potential to, maybe in a few spots where you're just running to the next thing, you could fletch like 2 things or something. But I can't imagine this being as chill as Sepulchre, where you get it really down. You got these long straightaways. This would be more... I don't know, just a lot more clicking going on, and in a fun way. And I think ultimately it would all be focused on fun. Like, I don't want this to be difficult by any means, but it would have a steep learning curve from the get-go if you don't understand rhythm. Like, if you can't get that down. You've done probably the Penguin course, maybe?
No, I've never done it.
Okay, well, there's one spot where you're like ticking up these like ice things. And it's bizarre. I mean, it's kind of jarring. Like, if you've done it a lot and maybe you have true tile on, it's a little bit more simple to understand. But man, if you don't have any true tile, like, it's so easy to slip because you can't even really tell where your character is. So in this sort of course, I'd want the animations to just be spot on, where like what you're doing is what your character's doing, and because I don't know, I love the animations from the new Varlamore course. Like, when you're jumping to those platforms, it's a little bit slow, it's a little sluggish, but I kind of like those new animations, because animations mean a lot to us as like gamers. Like, even if you wouldn't agree with it, I think just even like subconsciously, like seeing something that has a satisfying animation actually makes something feel better.
I do agree. Like, but one thing, I get kind of a lot of shit from maybe like just the skills, but is I play with animation smoothing, and a lot of skillers prefer, like, sometimes even just no GPU. Like, they go and raw, and like that's how the game is to them, and it's like I can appreciate that, but I like the animation smoothing, to be honest, and I'll die by that. But I also I kind of see the game in squares, because like to me that's what it is, right? Like, if you play with true tile and I play with like low detail, so like really the game is just squares. But without the animations, it doesn't really work. Like if the animations aren't there, like if the entire game was just squares, it would
you're a square,
be unplayable.
Yeah. I've seen those DK host streams, or not. I think. Maybe
Wizard?
DK's done them before. I think Wizard, Wizard's who I'm thinking of.
Wizard running Sep is on another planet, dude. Like, I've tried that, like hiding the character, just being the square, and it's so off-putting. Like,
bad.
Not seeing a character, and like I didn't do it for very long, but it's definitely something. But
I'm a fan of the doing. I use path marker, which I love. I love path marker.
Like it highlights the tiles you will walk on.
Yes, I love it so much, because it kind of gives you the best of both worlds. Like, I actually kind of appreciate knowing exactly where I am at all times, and I love the anticipation of this is where I will be, especially when it comes to just that stupid nerdiness that I focus on, of like doing a clue scroll and being either adjacent to a door or being right next to it. Yeah. I like knowing, okay, if I've clicked on the door, it's actually pathing me like one tile away from it. So now I know I'm going to actually purposely mark my tile here. And it's also cool anticipating if you're going to be walking toward the final little bit
Yeah.
or not. So yeah.
I actually, I get your point. I don't like it, but like, kind of for the, I don't know if it's like the
Aesthetic
same
reason?
reason, but like, well, not even aesthetic, like Sep specifically, I feel like is where I get used because like where you're pathing over.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of don't like it because maybe it's just me. Like I've done Sep for 1,500 hours. I just know where I am.
Yeah.
Like in my, and I feel like having like the visual clutter, I think, is really off-putting. And like,
Are you one of the
obviously, like,
circus Sepulchre players? Before I just bash on you for
what
if
do you
you're,
mean by circus?
I'm just wondering if you've imported every fucking tile they have on the thing, and your whole Sepulchre is like this thing of just the last obstacle, for example, is just flooded with these yellows and blues and
I
green
am
tiles.
opposite of that. I
Okay,
hate
are
that.
you
I
very
think
minimal?
it's a good way to learn because it's like
Yeah,
Sep is the thing with Sep is it's so complex. Like there is so much to that, and probably the best bit of content, maybe even ever. I think that's been released in the game, and
skilling
like
wise or across the board.
maybe just like competing with Inferno and Tob, but it is like people who don't skill
Mhm.
almost always like Sep. Like it's so fun.
It is.
But I think, I mean, for most players, just importing tiles and using those is like going to be like the way to go about it. But for people who want to get really good, it's I think important to know where you are, and like I try and reduce the tile markers wherever possible. Like I know Slaw 4 North, like the really big yellow one, I have no tile markers there because I
Really?
just know where I'm pathing.
See,
Um,
that's
and
the impress because wait, am I thinking north or no? No, actually, I'm thinking the south path actually. The south path on floor 4, the top level when you first start, where you have that
yeah,
huge straightaway with no yellows or
yeah,
blues. That is a path where path marker is a fucking game changer because you can guarantee if you've started the floor tick perfect. Now it's easy because we get instances. Like if you've not lost any ticks, you know that those last set of arrows shooting at you, you can dodge them, so you don't even need to think
yeah,
about it. And what sucks is if you don't have path marker and then you accidentally path like one or two, I think you have like one mistake you can make and you're fine still, like one half tile, or not half tile,
yeah,
one walk, you can do one walk and you're good. But I think without path marker, that becomes more of a headache. Like I really need to like be fucking focused. But as soon as
yeah,
path markers in the equation, oh, it's just a breeze. I don't have to stress out. It's just like
yeah.
I can anticipate where I'm
But
moving.
for the long ones like that, I just have like a single tile marker every two, which I think
Yeah,
is
yeah,
like
yeah.
pretty
So
common.
that's what path marker allows me without
Yeah,
flooding any of the floor. So
yeah. It's like doing the same thing, but yeah, like
yeah.
for the places where I don't like it, it's definitely too much like clutter for me. I
Hmm.
think like I mean, set for most people is like just click really far ahead and then dodge the darts and maybe try and get a teleport as they come. But at like the really high level, it's like
Every two tiles you're clicking basically,
it's
right?
so complex. Like learning every rotation, every different way like the floor can occur. Like there's so much unique things that you wouldn't even think about. Like some teleporters teleport you further than others.
Yeah.
Some teleporters are on different rotations than others. Um, different flame cycles, different skips. Like you can skip darts over a corner.
Hmm.
You can run through darts if you go like left to right as it's like coming over you.
Yep. I love the
Like
I love the
there's
floor 2 north where you click one time. You don't just immediately click on the platforms where you jump across those like 3 platforms,
oh
but
yeah yeah
but
yeah
you
yeah. No, I know what you
stand
mean.
one time.
Yeah
Yeah, yeah, you know that. But like before
yeah
you know that, you never can pass
yeah
that original arrow thing. Like that
yeah
that
yeah
first arrow shot or the sword shot. Like you can't run past it. You're always going to get hit. But as soon as you understand, oh, I can save one tick, then you can. It's like
yeah
magic.
yeah. Sep is definitely it's so complex and like there's no like there's like the Hebox like guide as like how to do it, but like there's no like documentation of every single small thing. And I want to make like that,
Yeah.
but
It would be a lot.
One, it would take so much time, and two, like I'm not very good at video editing. I would be hopeless,
And
yeah,
three, like you're only really going to be capturing the attention of the people that have already spent hundreds of hours there, like me. Like I would watch a video and be like, ooh, if I saw anything that I'm missing, that would be fascinating. But like no beginner is going to find any real value in you describing a pattern. Like, oh, here's a few patterns that you can start recognizing and stuff. Like,
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I I mean, for me, like I'm not a content creator. I don't even consider players like that, like the audience even like at all. So like it would not impact me at all. Like I make some like skilling videos of methods. Like no casual is gonna do spellbook swap Charlie Abyssal Demon. Like that's ridiculous. But like
Yeah.
I create it for like I
For
guess yeah,
science.
for yeah. Um but like I'm definitely not trying to like create useful resources for
Yeah,
players.
yeah. Just
Like yeah.
no,
But
I'm with you.
yeah.
I've always made those like random ass guides where it's like no, I don't even care if anybody watches this at all. It's just simply for it's almost for my own enjoyment. Just to
Yeah, the what 2 point something tick frog
yeah.
fishing and
No,
the
that was
one guy
actually
in
used.
leagues ended up.
I got yeah, I got a comment on it. Somebody on Leagues used it.
Yeah, no, I remember seeing that was pretty funny. But yeah.
Yeah.
Um I just it would take me so much time specifically. And maybe I'll do it after 200 mil old, but like
It's
I
a
guess I'm
lot
like
of effort.
I am kind of trying new things. Like the whole like ramble. I've never like I've streamed for a couple years. And well, sometimes less actively than others, but like creating like a ramble and just talking to myself, like it was so unusual. It felt really weird
Mm.
for the first like 5-10 minutes, but then after that, like I intended to talk for 15-20 minutes because that's what most are. I yapped for 68 minutes and I could have gone longer, but I had to go to bed because I stayed up like 45 minutes past when I would usually go to bed, and I was like fuck, like I don't know, like just trying new things like that, and yeah, maybe even creating like other like resources might be like something I want to do in the future. But
Yeah.
I'm I guess like an admin of the Ironman skilling Discord, which is like a collection of all the different like not even like 100% efficient methods for Ironman, but just all the I guess viable methods, and
Hmm.
people ask like questions, and I really love like answering those and helping out where I can. I I just like talking about RuneScape, bro. I'll be honest, like
Yeah, yeah, no, I love
yeah,
it. Like you radiate that passion, so
yeah,
that's cool. And you're still young, man. Like holy fuck. Like I wasn't even
yeah,
trying to think. Like 20, yeah, when I was 22, I wasn't even streaming yet. Like this is a year before I started streaming. That's crazy. But
yeah,
yeah, no, that's it. What one of the things that disappoints me is how much talent gets underappreciated, and it's because like it can't be properly designed into content, or it can't be properly
mm,
monetized. Like somebody like Settled, who's in my opinion he's a decent player. He's
yeah,
much better than a casual, but he's not anywhere near any like great PVM or a great skiller or anything. It's not like any of that matters. He's a great storyteller, but like
yeah,
if you could have like imagine Settled on top of that was also on the level of like Scotty or Port Kazard or something, just like a
yeah,
fucking wizard at the game. Now again, I would say somebody like Solo Mission's really up there with his just knowledge of the game, his skill. He's got a lot of skill. He's not again in that super high echelon, but he's a great YouTuber. He knows how to monetize his content and everything.
yeah,
One of the things is like kind of depresses me is for example, Afzal, like he got the 37
mm.
combat inferno. It's like
Oh
that's
yeah,
just
insane.
like he can stream it, to a few hundred people and stuff. That's great, but as soon as it's done, it's just done. But like, man, imagine you could story tell with that. Imagine you could make a settled production
Yeah,
with that kind of skill,
yeah.
and and
I think
and not even just a one-off episode, but something like truly like I am trying to get this, and you're really capturing this whole like arc of failing repeatedly and figuring things out and pioneering. I think Rendy is probably the closest we got to that, but
oh yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I think in terms of like content creation, like I mean solo wait settled definitely hit the nail on the head with the appealing to like a wide like audience and storytelling. Like people who don't even watch RuneScape. We'll watch his videos just because like he's so like good at that. Me personally, I'm not really interested in the, I guess, like personality or storytelling. Like there are some exceptions, like Randy, as you mentioned. I always watch his videos. It's always interesting just to see the game played from a different perspective to the level he does, and also solo mission. Like he's really good at almost every aspect of like yeah, not the best, but he's like he'll go hard, you know, leagues or
Yeah.
Deadman or whatever. But like the the people that play the game, like no matter what the play style is, like I really respect anyone that plays the game hard and cares, you know, equally as much as I do. You know, whether it be clogging or skilling, and it's really nice to see, like you've had, you know, you had Darts on, then you had Friend and Creel, and it's like I've never talked to Friend or Creel, but like I kind of know a little bit about them, and hearing what they have to say is like really enjoyable for me because like I would never have like interacted with them like otherwise, and
Mm-hmm.
they play really hard, and I love that. So yeah, but like these people, they exist, and like a lot of them stream, but it's like how do you find them? It's like it's a very, if you're not in the community, it's a very hard thing to kind of find. Like
Yeah.
there are people who stream like they'll stream to 5-10 viewers, and they're just doing like the most insane Inferno run you've ever done because like they don't advertise it. A lot of the time, they don't even speak it on mic. It's like yeah, it's
Yeah.
the people are there, but finding that is like, and they don't really try to make it entertaining. It's like
Yeah.
you're there for the gameplay, not really. And
Yeah.
like that's like my type of thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, for the wider audience, it's you see an Inferno speed run or a top speed, and you go, "What the fuck is this?" Like you don't
Yeah.
understand anything. Like, but yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I know DK Ho. I'm getting that name right. I'm not thinking of Wizard
yeah,
this time,
yeah.
but DK, like I think, you know, he started realizing toward the end of his 200 mil all journey, like he started wanting to kind of get into content creation. Like he was making efforts to stream more consistently, face cam and
Mm,
everything. And,
yeah.
you know, even start maybe potentially clogging and things like that. I mean, he's a fucking gamer. And
Oh yeah, yeah.
one of the things that's just, I don't know, it just upsets me in a way, but it is what it is. It's like, man, if somehow you could hire, I know this just sounds bizarre, but
Mm,
this is just for like content creation purposes. You could just hire like an editing team, like something where like you're gonna play the game the way you do. Like just imagine like Heiger, for example,
yeah.
like had recorded everything he did, kind of like all the relevant things he ever did on his account, like all the methods he did and everything, and then had a full ass like 3-person team to kind of like do what Coxie's doing with his all pet speedrun.
Mm,
Like if Coxie has, I think, perfectly nailed, you know, depending if you like Coxie's personality and stuff, like I think it's great. He definitely, I think his YouTube voice can be a little cringe, but
yeah. YouTube
ultimately
voice. Yeah,
he's got an amazing series going on where
yeah.
it is it can, like he's doing one of the sweatiest possible things, which is going for all pets, which is fucking crazy. Now, to be fair, it is PVM based, so it's a little bit easy to monetize something like that rather than 200 mil all. But ultimately, he's got a team of people that are going to make this video look fucking amazing. It's going to look super well produced. It's going to have a story kind of to it. It's going to, you know, you're building up to something great. And man, I just imagine if somebody like one of the guys that did 200 mil all like really was like, you know what, I'm gonna monetize this. Like I'm gonna go to town. I'm gonna play exactly how I want to play. I'm gonna go sweaty mode, but I'm going to somehow create a story. Not even necessarily a story, just a very high production value thing of just sweaty progress. Like, bro,
Yeah.
people like chunk accounts for the sweaty progress. They love that shit. And if you were to have somebody that took the game super, super, super seriously, that was even beyond their level. I mean, there's like, I include you in this. Like, there's people that take this game super seriously and will sweat and have crazy methods. Like, oh man, if somehow you could just find the recipe and have just the free flow of cash to be able to pile it into like a content machine. Like, ugh, I want something like that.
I think like Hebong and JCW did like a pretty good job at like bringing skilling to the masses, I suppose, like with their speed run. Like obviously like 200 mil is so different than just maxing. Like
It's
when
true.
maxing like the level brackets, and it's obviously so much shorter, and there's so much different stuff you do. um I think the more you care about something, I think the harder it is to kind of bring that like content creation aspect, because like if you're spending any time doing anything else, it's like
You're slacking. Like you're not
yeah,
putting
it's
all
like
your
hard to do
passion
that
into.
if you care so much, like to the point where you're willing to dedicate yourself to 200 mil all, and like
You're totally right. I would just imagine like a professional sports player, like just
yeah.
some NBA player that's now is really good at making videos all of a sudden. Like where'd you
Mm,
get all that talent from that should making it
yeah,
crazy? It's like, no, you got to spend your time practicing basketball all the time. Like what the hell?
yeah, yeah. And it's like that definitely is like there's skilling podcasts, there's rambles, there's like people talk about like skilling, and probably even clog as well. I'm not sure if it's like to the same degree as skilling kind of is, but like there's definitely been no attempt to bring it like to the casual audience, I suppose, and I don't know if that will ever be that. But I agree, it would definitely be cool to see. But
There is
yeah,
a way to bring it. I mean, you see Verf. I mean, he killed 500,000 hill giants. Like, bruh, that's
oh
the
yeah,
equivalent of fucking fishing for 1,000 hours, or 2,000 hours, or
mm,
whatever, whatever you would do. I mean, there is a way in anything you're doing, any pursuit that you're doing in RuneScape, like there is a way to create a really cool production with it. Like there just is,
yeah,
especially if you're taking the game super seriously and really outpacing players. I mean,
yeah.
it's just
Well,
you haven't really
what's
seen it that much, but you actually brought up two good examples of Hebox and JCW. But yeah.
yeah, I think I mean obviously they did it after the fact, after they hit 200 below. Like you definitely like that's your kind of competitive, like calling it career sounds pretty weird, but I don't know if that's like a better word. Like that's your
Claim to
you dedicate
fame.
yourself to 200 mil all, and then after that you kind of can focus on other things. And I think like, it's definitely cool to see like obviously like the players that play like the really weird account builds, like the chunk stuff, like Limpwort. Like he is so interesting to watch, and because like he approached it like I don't think he was the original person who did it, um but I think it was one of the first. And I never watched the series for a while. I was like, oh, it's just another boring chunk man kind of thing. But then like I don't know, his like mindset and way he approaches the game is so interesting to watch. And the thing I like most about him is he doesn't do the YouTube voice. It's kind of just him, like
Yeah.
like like because like Coxie does like he's done a really good job of bringing like this crazy efficient PVM stuff to the wider audience. But the YouTube voice,
It's bad.
I can't stand people
Yeah.
like, and it's like that is the meta though. Like
It
if you look
is.
at
It
like
is.
any successful creator, it like that's you have to do that. But like
It is. Yep.
to me, I just like the raw kind of like this is who I am, this is what I'm doing, and then he just kind of
Yeah.
just
No,
goes about it that way. And that's why I find it so interesting. Yeah,
it's funny watching like a Coxie video and then watching a stream. Just like,
yeah,
they're really different.
yeah,
It's funny.
yeah,
But
yeah.
no, I respect it. Like I'm, he invested in that. Like he realized like, hey, I want to make something. It might not hit, but it's very,
Yeah.
very successful. And he's spent a lot of money getting editors
Mm.
I mean, it's not even just the editors. I mean, he is putting in fuck tons of hours and he's streaming all day, every day. And he's
Yeah.
like, he is, I don't, I am just impressed. I feel like with being a content creator, having stuff mixed in like financially, like where it's no longer a hobby, can just end up making the
Mm.
game a lot more stressful. But holy
Yeah.
fuck, like I'm actually very impressed with Coxie's ability to grind. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
he goes hard.
Yeah. I mean, all pets like I mean, compared to 200 mil like Iron Man, like it's not like even really close, but it's still like a long time. And
You got
like,
the RNG element. You know, a lot of people that like the 200 mil, it's like you know what you're doing, you know the hours, but
yeah,
it's like, oh, there's another
I mean,
element of stress.
like RNG variants of like a couple, 1,000, 2,000 hours. That's like a lot.
Hmm.
Like, it would be almost impossible to go so dry that because I think for Iron, I think they said it was like 6 or 7,000 efficient hours to get all pets or something, and for main it's probably like 4,000, which like that's a lot. Like don't get me wrong, but like
Yeah, 200
I
mil
mean
all
it's a
is,
different play style though. Like
yeah,
I
it
don't
is.
I will try pet hunting, I will try clogging, but the whole RNG thing to me is like I was doing Guardians of the Rift like kind of recently,
Hmm.
and I got not bored, but like less interested just because I hit the pet rate. I didn't have the pet. And it's like, well, I could do this 2 or 3 more times. Like, it's yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
that mentality. So it's just, yeah, no, that's why I even find it more impressive is just like doing that. I mean, all pets speed run is, first of all, like that is just crazy. That's a
Oh
crazy
yeah,
thing to even say. Like speed running all pets, the fuck? Like, there's so much RNG to this. Like, what are you
yeah,
gonna do? Do a round two of it? Like, holy shit.
yeah.
But no,
I mean,
I
if you just like run back master clues until you get lucky, well then you and then you beat the time, whatever. But
yeah.
that would be yeah.
No,
I
that
mean, I think the speed run, like calling it a speed run, was
brilliant.
I think kind of more of a marketing move than,
Of course.
but
He's just
like you
going for
can't
all
really
pets, but
speed. Yeah,
but
but
he is doing it
obviously
in
he's doing
this.
the efficient. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
He yeah, no, but I think calling it speedrun is like, especially when he first made it, speedrun was all the shit, like all the hype, and it's like, oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
speedrun.
yeah. Cause, yeah, that's when Hitbox and all the speed runs
Yeah,
were going on.
Hebox's channel just exploded from that first episode.
Oh
That was
yeah, yeah,
crazy.
yeah. He's definitely doing really well.
Yeah, I mean that's all it takes is like you make one episode and it's just, it can explode something if you make something cool.
I think a lot of people just aren't interested in that though. Like,
It's true.
so it's like,
There's a big enough audience though to make, like, you could make a living off of it if you were to market it properly and, you know, have a good production. Like, you don't need to be you're never going to become a settled or anything doing that, but you
yeah.
can build
I
a
mean,
pretty decent audience.
being dependent on like that as like a career, I think at least for me, it would kill a lot of the desire to play as competitively. I think um, like because it's such like an RNG, like maybe you have a good month, maybe like it's a lot of out of your control. Like,
Hmm.
um, I I think anything more than like a passion kind of thing, at least to me, and probably a lot of other players would be like, there's probably like very little desire to try and make like skilling like a career, like, but
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
definitely
tough.
possible, but
Yeah, it's tough though.
I don't really see the interest. Yeah.
And of course, you would also need to be like a charismatic voice. I mean, that is just so essential to content creation.
Oh yeah,
You gotta
yeah.
be just a gotta love the spotlight somewhat.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely not too much of that in the high level RuneScape
Yeah,
community.
yeah.
That's for sure.
The one
But
exception I think was Randalicious. Randalicious, just
yes, yes, he's
he
definitely
is
pretty out there.
he's bouncy. Like he's just like
Yeah,
he's great.
I mean, it definitely is weird. Like, there's a lot of players who are like in the community, but you just never talk to. Like, you never hear from. It's like obviously like Lynx. Like, I don't think like he really talked to anyone. Like, maybe he'd say hi in public chat or something. But it's like, well, like he definitely isn't probably the person to try and make a career out of it, or
No,
like
no,
there's so many other players like on the leaderboards. I've never talked to so many of the high level Ironman just because they either keep to themselves or like they're not a part of the. So I guess like a lot of the people I talk to is through either Twitch or Discord, and if people just don't use that platform, it's like, well, like how do you kind of like meet these people, and especially if you're not like from the same like country, like,
hmm
like when I first started skilling, I met Gliss and Tails. Tails like rank 6, and
Yep.
Gliss is like a little bit ahead of me. and it's like that was kind of my skilling community, I suppose. And it like if you're not there, like meeting these players in game, it's like where do you really meet them? Like it's really funny sometimes. Like hopping, like doing a when I was like buying gems, you like world hop or you bank at the craft guild. I would see players of the craft guild that I've never seen in game. It's like I'd see like other high ranked Iron Man. It's like they actually exist in the game. Like it's really really weird to like see other players that like on other servers. So that's always funny. But yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. There's there's quite a few players that I wish would almost make content. Like a lot of the Iron Man. I think the Iron Man world of like people that take clogging really seriously and people that just are very completionist minded. Like I wish there was more streamers like that of that caliber.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
yeah, go.
like Friend does a really good job, like with that. Like, I mean, he uploads what every 6 months, like, but like he like insanely high quality, so much like, it's so cool to see like videos like that, and like it would be cooler to see like more people do that. I think like I don't know if you know of Jai High. I'm not
Yep,
gonna
yep.
use the correct pronunciation.
I call him Jai High too.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not bloody Finnish. But like he is, I think he's going for like collection log completion and 200 mil on the Iron Man like at the same time, and it's like
Okay.
to like, obviously I personally talk to him like pretty often, but like it, I feel like that would be like such a crazy thing to like see like as like I don't know the wider audience or other players like Ginny or Dicko like that just play the game a lot and care so much. Like I think yeah, again it's been really cool to like see some of those players like on the cast in recent weeks. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the plan. It feels like going back to the roots of the cast. You know, just talking to some big gamers. I mean,
Yeah, no, I remember
you're
like because when I started skilling, it was like the when you started the cast, like a couple months after, and I have like pretty solid memories of like doing Charlie necks with my ults as you're talking about getting them nerfed.
I'm the worst.
Bit of blood from that one, but
Yeah,
you know,
that's fair.
yeah,
No, I mean, even
yeah,
like the cool. I mean, you know, Iron Vatty comes to mind of him, just like this early Iron
yeah.
Man skill, or like just those conversations were so much fun. Just talking to people
I mean,
that would
he's long
just,
gone, but
oh
yeah.
yeah, oh yeah, he's long. Have you seen?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's way off the deep end now. It's
yeah.
definitely a
I,
crazy
yeah,
twist.
I don't know exactly the exact deep end. I just saw a video where he's like anti gaming now.
I think was it Saphiro the
Oh, that yeah, that's deep end
I think it's
stuff.
similar to him.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it?
I
Is
think
he
it's
grifting?
what does that mean?
Just like basically, I don't know. The way I see it is like just finding some internet niche where you just kind of pander to an audience to make money. Just
It might. I mean, I
I
haven't
don't
seen it in
I don't know. I don't
very
want to
long,
do
but
it.
yeah.
I don't want to have any false accusations against Vatty. Vatty, I love that guy to death, but Saphiro definitely like he was a Twitch streamer, played a lot of old school, had a great Iron Man, and then all of a sudden just wasn't enjoying
Yeah.
it, quit, started playing Call of Duty, tried to stream that, and then realized, oh, this isn't for me. In fact, and then he just claimed like gaming and everything destroyed his life, and now he's just like
Yeah.
anti-porn, and he grifts, you know, he writes books on how bad porn is and stuff, and so
Yeah.
he's got this like audience of just people where you just share the talking points that you need to be share of like alpha
Yeah.
male kind of self-help guru
Yeah. Yeah.
shit, and I'm like, oh man.
It's definitely a 180 from streaming RuneScape and like I mean Vatty I mean I'd never really talked to Vatty. It was kind of before my time. Like he quit like not long after I started and yeah, it's never really like knew him, but
Yeah.
yeah.
No, very very one thing I want to do, and I don't know if this is quite like I would need to. I don't want to steal content, but this is something I want to do. Is make sort of a compilation of the early days of skillers and just early rambles. Like I think of Vatty, I think of Lelador, I think of these YouTube channel. I mean, even I hate to say it, but even like a Jebram video, like an old Jebram video, just some sort of just some sort of compilation of it. We got the deep end of Jebram as well. We're not going to get into that, but like it's just gathering all of this old ancient footage of the early days of old school and somehow compiling it into a fun, big, fat, chunky video, or even a series of just like
that would be so cool.
Just like a relic, like a time capsule of like, hey, here's some of the cool shit that a lot of you probably missed, but like this is the early days of old school. This is what the discussions that were being had by high level players. Even throw in some Hex's podcast there and some other high clan podcast audio. Like, that'd be fun. But then again, I would feel like if I were to do that out of my way, like I'd have to get so much permission from people to do it like ethically. That it's just I just don't want to do this. I feel like
you could compile a playlist, but it's not really the same thing as
exactly. It's not.
But like, I think that like the Lelador videos, like I maybe not. It was probably a while ago, but I kind of worked my way through them, and it's so interesting, like seeing players like 8-9 years ago at the start of Ironman, like how different the game was, and like because I think he was rank 1, right, for like quite a while.
Yeah.
I believe, and like. It's so interesting, like seeing those, and even now I kind of go back to some of the old podcasts. Maybe not the very first ones; they were kind of off the rails. But as like when I start seeing like familiar faces, it's like kind of, I mean, because like I've been around RuneScape for like the longest time, but I never was like involved in skilling or even like had any idea. Like Link's Titan finished 200 mil like what, a year and a half like or something before I even maxed. Like it's the timeline is so long. I mean, I used to watch like the Autumnology kind of videos. Like I remember trying to learn tick minute fishing with the reindeer hat. I could not do that shit. Oz didn't exist. I was probably playing on some shitty laptop. It was, I could not do it, but like I enjoyed like trying that. And like kind of seeing that kind of stuff. But
it'd be cool to just somehow encapsulate all this ancient footage, because there will come a time where, again, going back way back to our first kind of discussion we had on this cast of like the collector's edition stuff, people like these ancient relics, like they like collecting it. And I can imagine if old school survives, which by the way we're living through a crisis right now of potentially the downfall of the golden age of old school, but there will come a time where seriously 20 years from now they're going to look back at the beginning of old school, just as we fawn over the old screenshots of 2003 RuneScape. Somebody will post a big compilation of just these fucking screenshots. And back then you're taking the screenshots like nobody cares because it's just you're living the present, and it makes no difference. But then you see these collections later and like, wow, that is nostalgic as hell. That is great.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Have you seen the skilling videos by Dreamy, like skilling 1, skilling 2?
Yes.
Skilling?
Oh my
god, those
are so
insane
good
to look back on. And like there's definitely like there's other skilling montages. I don't know when his last upload was.
See,
but
that's a time capsule.
Those are definitely those are beautiful videos. But yeah,
we see in the community where things feel imbalanced when new updates come out. So let's talk about Mixology. Of course, I've seen your tweets saying that it's imbalanced, but not that it's too slow like the average player would assume. Like you got to buff this, but you see it as too overpowered. So
so
get into that.
Yeah, anyone who reads the weekly tweets will always see me tweeting about Mixology. It's not entirely like I think it's too strong and I think it should be nerfed. That's not really the reason I tweet it though. The reason I keep tweeting it is because of the comments I get. Like there's always like 15-20 people, calling me like an anime loser or something, and it's always just really it's always really funny, like, to be honest, like seeing that. Um, but um, I don't think it'll get nerfed. I don't like. From what I understand, they're monitoring to see if it's too strong.
Hmm.
So basically, they'll do nothing.
Yeah.
I would think. But like in terms of, I saw a question. I think it was Yoda or something. It was like the EHP changes for Iron Man came through the start of this year,
Hmm.
which I do, by the way. um, I
All
have,
by yourself,
yeah.
or do you have other
So
players?
other players help with like discussion and like giving me rates, but like I don't know if you've seen the whole like Iron Man EHP spreadsheet. Like it's a huge thing. It was originally done by Heiger, um, based off a. So I think there was an original Slayer spreadsheet which Heiger took, and Ten Hao, another Finnish player, they worked on. Heiger updated it a few times, and then he kind of lost motivation after finishing, and I kind of picked it up after that. But like I spent hundreds of hours working on this sheet, calculating like the efficient Iron Man like game,
Hmm.
I suppose. Um, um, Again, that is like the like a big portion of the enjoyment for me is the sheets and the math behind it.
Yeah.
But the Herblo rate changed from I think 73k to like 76 to be inclusive of like herb tot, which is like that's a small like that's not a big change,
Yeah.
right? And about half of that's just due to the rewards, not the actual game itself.
Hmm.
But the and so it's like that's not that big. How can it be this crazily overpowered thing? And I think I want to kind of compare it to so SEP right now, 110k is probably the tick perfect average long term rate you can get. Most players like the age period's 102, which is like pretty reasonable for most high level players. Imagine they created RDV2, which is the same thing, 115k now. It's like, sure,
Mm,
the increase is not that much, but like you're going from this crazily complex, super fun, interesting method to Artie. Like
I see.
it's OP in that sense, and that's kind of why I think it should be changed. Um,
So what
like
exactly is it just because what was the meta before, like doing barbarian fishing, like that kind of stuff?
so
Was that what used to run
the
that?
Herblore rate itself is based on farming contracts, and then the time save of other Herblore is like accounted for in other skills. So like barbarian fishing has like the fishing rate's like 170k,
Hmm.
which is like because like you get like 20k herb an hour, and that boosts the rate from 110 to 170 plus like the agility and all that stuff. It's like and then Slayer you get like a lot of seeds from Slayer, but then you get like I think it's 14,000 contracts was the number you had to do.
Hmm.
Before the changes, I think before those changes it was 20 something thousand, and so like 30 to 50% of your herb or something like that is for contracts. Um, and so that's like the base herb only rate. And so what Mixology kind of did is you start using low level herbs. Like I can now, I'm farming Harrowlanders, Ranars, and Dwarf Weeds. Like Harrowlanders and Ranars are not even worth farming if you don't if they care about XP. Like for most players, are always going to farm their Ranars for prep potions, but I'm using these two shitty herbs that I'd never use otherwise. And I'm using dwarf weed, which is the worst herb worth using. Um, so I'm using all these three herbs I would probably otherwise never use. I'm tripling the XP per herb or something like that,
Hmm.
and I'm getting the most efficient XP in game, plus brews, restores, and all the potions. Like, because like a big argument for herb tot is like, oh, but you're not getting any potions. That's actually the opposite. Like I'm turning these shit herbs into brews, like
What is the
while getting the most efficient XP.
what is the like extraction, like the like how many herbs would it take to actually make like a pot? Like I've heard, I haven't actually ever bought a potion pack there. Is it pretty
Yeah,
reasonable
I
or is
think like if you're grinding like potions, it's obviously like absurdly bad.
yeah.
I think you get like 10, 12. Oh, I mean, they buff the points again. So it might even be more than that.
But
Like
I
you
mean,
probably get like a few brews an hour, a few restores, a few prayer enhance. Like
so,
it's not many, but you're getting them passively while training and
and you
giving up.
wouldn't have normally gotten any of this.
Yeah, like these Harrowlander seeds would have just sat in my seed vault, but
Mm,
now I'm gonna farm 5,000 of them because it's efficient, and it's
mm.
like it.
So
So not only is it strong in that aspect, it kind of degrades the identity of the skill itself. Because like Herblore on an Ironman has always been this super prestigious, like long, you have to upkeep your farm runs for
yeah,
like a long time. You have to collect so many different like if they made the secondary collection faster, I don't think anyone would really care. Like the the time gated kind of aspect of Herblore on an Ironman has kind of made it like I guess the most important skill in Ironman skilling, like for I guess forever.
hmm
And Herb Tot kind of goes quite against that with how much XP per herb and how you're just farming the really bad ones for efficient XP, which is I'm really not a fan of. I think like in its original state, it was like 75k an hour tops or something, versus like 105 to 110k now, um, and that was like before the plugins, before all the things. And
hmm
like it was day one, people are just like, I don't know how I'm getting 20k XP an hour. I'm reading the book for the recipe every time. It's like, well, maybe give it more than a day, like learn the method, wait for some plugins, and then it's like making like day one changes is like it's so dangerous because like on one hand, people are not going to want to engage with the content if it's too weak, but on the other hand, if it's just the players not being familiar enough, then it's going to be too strong, and it kind of shifted in the too strong direction. And
mm.
um,
I guess
yeah,
no, that's a great point. I'm gonna talk to you. I want to hear your comparison. If you remember when they kind of changed crafting and allowed you to bank buckets of sand through the sand grinder and collect giant seaweed, that
oh
was
yeah,
a massive change. But I want your thoughts on that. So keep that brewing. But before that, I just to kind of push back again. I'm not in that efficient Ironman scene anymore where I used to really kind of care about the balancing of these things. I used to talk about it a lot more. Playing a separate new account as well has kind of just jaded me from that. But wouldn't it, like, isn't it, like, I understand you're kind of making the comparison with Artie, but it is more of a consumable skill. So you're gathering these resources, and there's something, at least to me, even if I was playing Sae Bae, and even if I was pushing for long-term skilling goals, I would like the idea that these low-level herbs that had no fucking use now have a use. Like, I think that's actually a positive. Do you see that as that, or is it just simply like the met? And I understand there's other consequences. Like if you were to still be able to use these lower herbs, but the overall EHP was, or of herbology
I think
was
like
lessened, it would still be fine. But
on release, it was
Mhm.
like maybe slightly too strong, but in a viable position, such that like you can use these low level herbs. You're not getting the efficient rate. You're getting maybe 80% of that, maybe a little bit more, maybe like
Mm,
90%. So you're getting like a pretty reasonable XP rate at the cost of these otherwise useless herbs, but it's not the meta. Like I feel
mm.
like farming Harrowlander seeds as the meta is ridiculous. Like I really am not a fan, but
I mean,
I think like
doesn't it also kind of balance out the fact that now you have to harvest these? I mean, I guess farming XP doesn't fucking mean anything, does it? Because you have
well the
trees and stuff.
no the time to farm the Harrowland is included like in like
Okay,
how
and
in
and
how efficient it is. Yeah.
and I guess like just for those listening, including myself, I mean, again, like I just asked, like the actual XP, because most people would see it as, well, now you're downgrading because you have to get lower XP on your herb runs, like lower
Hmm.
farming XP on your herb runs. That doesn't matter at all to this because
That's irrelevant. Like
because
farming is
farming
so
is free.
quick. Like I think um uh, if you do like the top tier farming, it's like 2.5 mil an hour or something. Like 'cause you do
Okay,
like a 10-minute farm run, you get like 500k, whatever. I don't think
okay,
I've
so
done
it's
a tree run
completely
in
irrelevant.
years, but
It's mainly
it's
for the
irrelevant. It
audience
means
to.
nothing. Yeah.
Okay, so let me hear what you, if you were to go in and fully adjust Mixology, how would you do it? And then I want to ask the similarity between this and like the Sandstone update.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's like a good solution, but like because Herbal is so difficult to balance by game mode. Like for a main, you make Bruise of the Bang for 450k an hour, or if you want to one tick potions, you're getting like 800k an hour or something. Obviously, it's very expensive, and like at least on I don't know how good money Mixology now is, but it was like really strong, like on release with the chugging barrel. Um, Balancing all three game modes, including UIM, around one rate is not possible. I think without because like even at 75k an hour, it still would have been ridiculous for UIM. So like my proposal would be make it 250, 200k for mains, make it 50k for Ironman and 25k for UIM. And I think that well maybe like that's a little bit greedy. I feel like the maybe 75, 80k is like I wouldn't be so upset about it. But like even just like splitting XP by game mode, I think would be the
Really?
most obvious choice.
That is
But like I
that
don't
is
know
a
if that's
hot
like
take.
I
That's
don't know if
hot.
that's like something you want to keep going with. It's kind of like the drop drop rate protection kind of thing. Like maybe it's useful in one scenario, but is it too much of a slippery slope? Maybe. Otherwise, like because to me, like it was supposed to be like at least as far as I'm aware, like token Herbler XP while you get the rewards. It wasn't intended to be a training method.
Yeah.
And so if you look at Tithe Farm, that's like 100k now. Like that is shit.
Yeah.
Like that is like you do like a couple magic trees and that's 100k. Like obviously it's free and well, I suppose you make money, but you do Tithe, you get the rewards, and then you probably leave. Like Herb Tot, I feel like was kind of be intended to be that, but
It's just
it's definitely not for Iron Man.
It's so difficult to balance because you're turning a bank standing skill into a skill. It's the same. It's going to be another potential issue. It's not going to be the same issue. Herblore is probably the most sensitive because it was the most long-term grind on an iron. Whereas, fletching, it's just always been free. So whatever they do with the fletching minigame doesn't really matter ultimately.
Oh yeah, I think the fletching minigame like idea is good because like for most players, that is fletching longbows at the bank, giving them an alternative without ruining the fletching meta, which is just 0 time arrows while you do other things. Like it's that's good.
Well,
Herblore, touchy subject.
Yeah. See, like your solution makes me feel like what Jagex did was actually a very, very reasonable middle ground. I think separating by game mode would be disastrous. Like just completely nonsensical and disastrous in a lot of ways, just to arbitrarily fuck up game mode.
Would be, yeah. But that's like, without it'd be the best way to like, in a one-off solution, like appeal to mains, to Iron Man, to UIM without disrupting the balance of any one in particular. Because if it's too weak for mains, it's probably too strong for you or like whatever. But and in terms of like the actual reasonableness of splitting XP by game mode, probably not very. But I feel like it's either that or they make it 25k now, so it's not UAM. Like
the thing with UIM is
that is there all day.
Every update for UIM becomes a complete game changer. I mean, just like UIM, like when you jump into that game mode, like you're just expecting, like nothing's gonna be the same. Like just look at Lowlander first maxing a UIM, how much different that was.
Oh yeah,
just a fucking shit show.
I think the kind of minigamification of RuneScape is kind of not great for UIM. Like I understand like they're pretty popular with a lot of players. And I myself am a fan of quite a few of the mini games. Like Guardians of the Rift is pretty fun. I actually
do you think that's imbalanced?
Solo Temporos,
because that's another. It's not as sensitive as Herblore, and it's also it was never a bankable skill in the first place, but you don't need any essence for it. Did you think that had
well, it was intended to have essence originally, I believe.
Yeah.
But I think small teams are maybe a little too strong. Like you can get like 83k now in small teams as opposed to I feel it was proposed like 60k, which is pretty significant for Iron Man because like currently 80k is the efficient rate, which is ZMI. I think
UIM
it probably a little too strong.
Completely.
Guardians Rift is the meta for UIM. It's
what was it before?
Zayasi.
Jesus
which
Christ.
was 55, including like crafting and mining, I think. So
Okay. And
pretty
and it's still 83
big change.
for UIM, or is it slightly lower
I
because
think
of
it's
inventory space?
75
Okay.
because like inventory space, you can't really do combo runes,
Yeah, yeah.
stuff like that. Um, um, I I kind of like the outfit. Like as much as getting everything for free kind of feels a little like Fortnite. Like it also kind of feels nice that like you're rune crafting for your runes, and so
Mm-hmm.
like that's kind of I like that. The pouch was probably a bit too strong. Like in my head, it was just going to combine the three pouches into one, but you have the same total space. But then
Mm.
they added like 7 or 8 space, and that was maybe a little too strong. But
I love it.
it is what it
I
is.
love the
Yeah,
colossal pouch.
yeah.
The best change they ever made was getting rid of the 4 tick stall between crafting.
Oh yeah, yeah. That I never did ZMI before that, but oh my god, that would be really bad.
Dude,
Well, I remember when you're doing lava runes and you fuck up and you don't click like the earth rune and you just
yep.
click the altar and then you're
Wait.
there for forever.
Yeah.
It's really bad. Yeah.
No, it was everywhere. I mean, you just do any abyss rune crafting, you gotta wait this fucking stall. It was
Was it
so,
was
yeah.
I feel like nature runes did not have a stall.
No, every single altar had that 4 tick, unless you were making combo runes. That was the only exception.
My memory must be
So
failing, but I remember doing it 10 years ago. But I guess
ZMI had the 3 tick. Everywhere else had the 4 tick. Or sorry, yeah, there was 3 ticks in between each craft at ZMI, but every other altar was 4 tick, and all combo runes you could 1 tick,
yeah.
and it was painful. And I just remember like, dude, can we fucking fix this? And I do remember, I don't remember names in particular, but there was actually people against that. I'm like, dude, like this is the kind of like we have to, like this is pure enlightenment. Like we have to move the game beyond this clunkiness. Like that is my whole philosophy with this game, and like I feel like that was one of like the pinnacle moments of just understanding like when you make things feel smoother, even if it's a buff, because it was a straight up buff, it's improving your XP per hour. It doesn't fucking matter. It's like it's all about making the game feel better, and doing one
Yeah.
tick crafts feels phenomenal. Oh,
Yeah, I think like 10, 12 years ago, like when old school first came out, like I can kind of see like the pushback against it because like that was the appeal, like the clunkiness of the game. Nowadays,
yeah. No, and
I, I
I'm,
don't
I'm
think
with
most
you.
players really care about it.
Yeah, my
Like
views in particular have also evolved over time, but for years and years now, easily 4 or 5 years, I've always just been on board with like, let's smooth things out again in a rational, reasonable way. I don't want to turn everything into just boring and brain dead and brain rot, but I want to make things feel good. It's all about the feel. So, and
yeah,
I'm very
yeah,
rhythmic minded. I want things to have nice bounciness to it and rhythm. So,
yeah. No, I agree. I mean, there's that like maybe not like slippery slope, but I feel like there are some things that are like kind of no brainers. Like well, I mean, at least to me, the runecraft altars is like being so upset over the stall on that being like removed. I guess
yeah.
at least nowadays would be pretty absurd. Um, but there are some other things that while some players might find them like tedious or unnecessary, like for other players maybe it's
No, you're
a
right.
key identity of a skill, and it's like there's
I mean,
definitely some care, but yeah,
we could just point out, sticking with runecrafting. I mean, the colossal pouch, not even the space, but now you only have 1 pouch instead of, in some cases, if you were doing Abyss RC, you're using 4 pouches. You're bringing your
yeah,
4 pouches, you're using it, twice, and you're waiting your time. But some people thought, okay, it's completely Fortnite to just make it one inventory. Whereas, and this is obviously a little bit different than the 1 tick thing, because it's not just feel, but it's like, okay, there was a little bit of skill expression with this
yeah,
emptying of pouches, which now you've eroded. But
yeah,
when you weigh the pros and cons, and this is excluding the point of extra space, I think that's a separate argument. But just having 1 pouch, in my personal opinion, was a good move. The pros outweigh the cons in that situation.
Yeah. Now, with the recent update, like making the colossal pouch available to like all players, I think is a pretty good change.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like with the four pouches. There was like a little bit of like kind of interesting, like whether you do. I think it was either two or four pouch, like lava runes. Like, do you want to like? You know, it's slightly better to bring the four pouches, but it's like you got to manage the binding necklaces, and
Yeah.
it's more of an intricacy with that. I don't think many players really care, but at least like there definitely is some like
There's always something that's lost
thing there.
with anything.
Yeah.
It's like nothing is ever exactly black and white. You got to weigh it.
Yeah.
And it's the way I see. I mean, actually, I'm going to avoid the topic entirely. You can probably imagine what I would think of.
It's a known cube.
Yeah, I know it was. But I don't even want to touch on that just because I've exhausted it and it's just needless. And you already know my opinions on it. But even something like dropping, which we were talking about earlier, like dropping stuff, I feel like in my personal opinion, that is something that I believe in 5 to 10 years from now, when power stuff and dropping shit is no longer a thing, which, you know, it could be the case it's not, but we're going to look back and be like, holy fuck, like we're just dropping shit. Like that is just so much unnecessary, just bullshit. That's how I would like to kind of imagine a future where just no skill really is requiring this nonsense of just clearing your inventory, just developing carpal tunnel repeatedly. Like, I don't know.
I see your point, but like for some skills, like that kind of is the identity, and not like all of, like that mining and woodcut. Well, it basically is mining. Like that's like half of the skill. Woodcutting a little bit less, so like there's a lot more like complexity to that. But I feel like making every skill the same is kind of what that's doing. Like there are. I think the issue a lot of people have with 4G is like it's so click intensive, right? Like why is there no other method? But I think like it takes time to get into it. Like if you've never tick minute before, and then you go and do granite, and then you get 15 minutes in, your hand hurts and you stop, and then you never try tick minute again. That's like probably not the best way to go about it. It's like if you're like trying to run a marathon and you've never run your life, it's like it's not going to work. Like there are easier tick manipulation methods, and if you want to try those, I think that's the way to go about it. It's like try 2-tick fishing. Like that method is easy. You click the fishing spot every 2 ticks. You don't have to click off to get the aggro. It's really easy. It's you get a feel for the rhythm for a tick, like because like feeling ticks is like this thing that probably most players don't really understand. It's like
it takes hours.
It's not explained anywhere, right? Like it I guess on a quick tangent, like I feel like Jagex has done a really good job with introducing PVM mechanics like gear switching. I think with the new bosses, prayer switching with like Scarius and stuff like that. But like, how do you really explain like a tick? And how do you explain like tick manipulation? It's definitely because it's not like the intended way to play the game, right? Like, it's technically a bug or whatever. Anyway, so you can try 2-tick fish, then maybe 2-tick wood cutting. That's a little bit more active, and then maybe 3-tick barb, and then maybe move on to mining. And you only do like a little bit a day. Like no one sits there and goes from training herblore, finish herblore. Now I'm gonna mine 18 hours a day. Like nobody does that. Like you take it slow. Like it takes a couple of days to even build up to do it for more than even a few hours at a time. And I think
guess,
like
you're one of the problems is like, yes, it would, like if you're like an extreme purist for the game and you don't want any updates and you kind of like and I'm saying like generally, it's like obviously it goes case by case, but generally speaking, you're more of like, I don't want anything changed and I don't like the mini gamification of this game and I don't like elements of that. My argument, and you probably heard it with darts as well, was just like, I want the game to not be separated into a bunch of mini games where every single skill has an identity of a mini game. Like I want you to be able to just mine around the world and feel like it makes sense. And, getting like for so many players, and this is the reason why. And the things will eventually get devalued. Like mining, eventually, like we're going to come out with another VM that's probably going to be on rate with granite at some point in the future. Like it just will. It's just going to happen, and people are going to be really butthurt about it. And so, in my opinion, I'm just thinking like, why can't we just start toning back just the sheer intensity of these skills, so that we don't even have to go down that route? Like, why can't we have the kind of classic skilling that old school has always had, you know, just mining around the world, like gem mining and just mining rocks and stuff and fishing at spots, instead of it just being like, imagine just everything was Temperos. You can't just fish around the game. You're going to feel inefficient. Like everything needs to be a mini game. It's like, I just want, and this is even coming from me, who's put in, you know, 20,000 plus hours into this game and has efficiently skilled and has done all this stuff. Like, I would just love it if I could go to granite and, for example, have, like I mentioned in the darts cast, like have like some spell that disintegrates the granite and turns it into granite dust, and feeling like I'm kind of accomplishing something else while doing it. And, you know, teaks, like we were mentioning and you agreed, like just have a log basket there so you can, you know, 1.5 tick teaks, then bank them and stuff. Like just these elements to ease just the sheer APM of these methods. I mean, I don't know. Like, I understand there's stuff that's valued by people. Like, they want the method to remain the same until the end of time. But, like, the more we are, like, so dogmatic about, like, never changing these things, like, it eventually leads to just everything becomes a mini game, because 99% of the player base has no interest in any of this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just...
I think you mentioned, I think before, like mini game, they kind of punish you for trying to play better. Like,
yes,
like for like winter tot, if you like try and chop faster or something, like it slows you down, and that's pretty ridiculous. It would be nice if that was kind of taken out of it. That kind of promoting less active,
promoting brain rot. It's just like, look at Temperos. Just click the spot and wait for it. There's no rhythm to it. You just click the spot. Oh, you want to cook these fish a little bit faster? No. If you click this thing one more time, we're going to slow you down, motherfucker. Don't click it again.
Yeah.
Same thing with Giants Foundry. You click the thing again. Oh,
Oh, Foundry sucks. Oh,
that
minigame stinks.
Temperos, so
I
imbalanced.
Actually don't mind. Yeah. No, I remember doing Foundry and Release, and oh my god, never again.
You probably don't even understand how bad it really is, and I didn't either, because, like, you know, it's not competing with EHP, just still gold ore. It's like whatever. But holy fuck, dude, if you're just trying to play this game like normally, not just sweating every possible efficient method, you are obligated to do Giants Foundry, and it is so painful.
On an Ironman, or just like
on an iron, yeah.
Okay,
it feels like an obligation. Like, yes, technically you could just wait and get really rich and then do gold ore like it used to kind of be, and I'm against that. And, like, I feel like there should be variety in smithing, but holy fuck, dude, the fact that you can't even do basic anvil smithing, or else you're trolling. Like, I hate that.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no. Oh my god. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not gonna.
Yeah. I mean, smithing is, probably also something I wanted to talk. Like, it's definitely like rough on Iron Man, because like I'm pretty sure you get less smithing XP per mining XP. I think for like ores, or like at least any like there's no viable way to mine rune or myth or addy or anything that's like worth smithing. Or even gold for that sense. I think, you're a big proponent of the gold horseshoe, and to be honest,
let us mine stuff.
I wouldn't be against that. I think like whether it be a horseshoe kind of like gem mine-esque kind of, and then you chuck the ore, and to make it viable, it would either have to be 122k an hour mining, or it'd have to be like 10x the gold ore you're getting in terms of like viability.
That was my intention, was like, I want this to be 115 to 120k XP in mining. Like right now it gives you like 65 XP per gold ore, And it's like, bro, if you just drastically increase the success rate of this,
And the
lowered,
respawn.
yeah, just lowered the respawn timer, and then you have a little fucking bank chest there, or even something that costs you money to bank it, you know, just like a little,
Yeah.
just anything. You just build something, spend some gold leaves on it. Like I said, I always mention the gold leaves is just construction based, but like, bruh, that would feel so good. That would feel so good to mine your gold ore. I hate the shopping metas. I understand their metas. I understand they're kind of nostalgic, but it's just like, why? Like, we have a perfect opportunity to avoid that.
Yeah, I do think like gathering the resources yourself as opposed to buying them from a shop feels like much nicer. Um, like in terms of the method, I actually enjoy the smithing method, like buying it from the shop. Even like world hopping, like with two clients, I actually enjoy the method. The competition, like, I mean, like the actual idea of it, like you just buy it from the shop and then you put it in, like it's pretty silly. And I don't know if you know, but the current meta is to use like ironman alts, and you like make
Sell
money
the
on
gold
them,
ore.
buy gold ore, and then sell them, so you don't have to world hop.
So
Which
dumb.
I've brought it up like multiple times, like when they made that change to like J mods, and they're like, yeah, cool. Like they know about it. They're not, if they do anything, they probably should do something about it. It's probably
Okay,
not a great way to like play, but
listen, this is one of my hot takes, but I personally think, first of all, I am very against any form of just buying stuff on an Ironman. I think it goes completely against the game mode. So I would be a big proponent of just completely just deleting shop stocks entirely, and then you have to redesign the metas. Like, just fucking imagine you just couldn't buy gold anymore. Like, we'd have a big incentive to add that gold horseshoe, or just do some other cool things where you actually have to utilize mining. If you just couldn't buy ore, like, imagine that. But
I think like Blast Mine, like because you like MLM or like they all give you like ores, but none of them are worth doing because you can just buy the gold ore from the shop.
get no ores, But if we're not going to go down that route, because you know people think that's extreme, then how would you feel about just having a stock just have an infinite, like have an infinity symbol next to it, where there is no world hopping? If you want to do this method, yes, we're going to completely dumb it down by not having to world hop and not having to use these fucking Iron Man alts, but ultimately, if you can buy a full inventory at any point in a shop, then it's just guaranteed there. The price is always going to be the same. There's no hopping, and it is what it is across the board. So the ore shop has infinite stock in it, and you just buy it at the same price. Like, let me hear your thoughts on that. What would be are you against that? Are you for it? Like, what would be the downsides?
Well, I think the downsides are it promotes Shopscape, right? Like,
Yeah.
if they kind of say, hey, we can't design something more, I don't know, appropriate, we're just gonna like Scar Essence, they kind of just said, hey, like you just buy the runes and then you runecraft them at 40 times the speed, like
60.
Okay, well, like like that's pretty ridiculous, right? Like that's pretty absurd that they couldn't find a way around it.
There was a way, and I talked to JMods, and they're like, nah, it's just not worth the effort. No, we're just going to fucking send this. That's basically the gist of it.
Which is like, so it kind of promotes that, and like, it would be nice, like, on one hand, because, like, the worst part about smithing is the competition. Like, if someone else is doing the method, your XP rates go down 20%, because they don't, like, restock fast enough. And, like, that is one of the big reasons why alts are, like, so prominent for Iron Man, is because it removes that. Like the world hop saves like a bit of time, but it's really the competition that's like a lot of it. So yeah, it would be nice for that, because that always sucks. But yeah, then again, you're kind of promoting it.
And so again, it's like, in my perfect world, there's no abusing shops in any form. I mean, it's like you could have just make it so there's no way of really getting anything, including runes. I mean, and again, this is not in the current state of runecrafting. The current state of runecrafting is not good enough. But if you were to drastically increase the amount of elemental runes you can get per crafts, just across the board, all elemental runes are like fucking 20 or 30x, rather than it just being air runes and fires like 4x. It makes no sense. Multiple runes. But like making it so when you're runecrafting, it actually feels like you're gathering the runes. Like, how how
Yeah.
interesting of an Iron Man meta would that be, where every rune you're crafting, you can craft in a reasonable way, and that becomes the way you get runes. And again, most people that play Iron Man are like, fuck that. I don't want to deal with it. I'd rather just buy it because I've already gotten used to this, and this is how Iron Man is. And so that's why I'm just proposing, why not then, because I can't ever see this passing, is just make it so it's infinite stock. Like, just fucking make it. Like, it's just...
I definitely, I get your point, and it's like, that would be cool. The problem is, most people that even that just play Iron Man, like, they don't really care about skilling. Maybe the max, but like they'll go Tob, they'll go TOA, they'll go to Scythe and Shadow. Now they need 1 trillion runes, and well, I'm not going to runecraft. Like, I mean, like before True Blood Altar, like you'd runecraft like 1k an hour, something like so low. It's like, well, this is absurd. If you don't care about skilling, like, why? Like, I can't use my Scythe. There's definitely been made easier. Like, obviously it's now 2 blood runes a charge or something, and it's like easy to get. But in the perfect world it makes more sense, but you can't really like say, because like probably 95% of Iron Man like probably like don't care about skilling, or
they don't,
at least like
not the highest level, highest echelon of it. So
I mean, I don't know what the solution is, but
my solution is just like whenever I have to hop, it's just, this is fucking stupid. Like, this is so stupid.
I mean, 2-client hopping is actually like not that bad. The issue is you hit the hop limit really quick. It basically makes the hop like infinite. Oh, sorry, instant.
I've seen Tanner Dino doing the boneyard hopping. What do you
10k XP now?
What are your thoughts on the free to play? Would you ever do that? Like, obviously you're focused on your account, but like, have you ever seen? I want to try the
methods. Like, I'm friends with quite a few free to play players, and it would be really cool if maybe some of them will run the cast. But it's like there's so many interesting methods in free to play that you wouldn't really think, and it's like I'd really love to try them. I don't think I'd play an account long term in free to play, but like there's so many interesting ways, like fishing, mining, and maybe not woodcutting. Well, actually, I don't know if you saw the method that Tanadino did.
I did.
The 2.615 tickwood willows, like that. Like that looks so cool.
I love that it's still being evolved. Like,
there's definitely a lot of methods I'd like to try, and especially on free to play, because like I can do like a lot of the methods on like whether it be like UAM or main methods. I made a few drift nets to try that. That method sucks.
Driftnet sucks.
It's really boring. It sucks. It feels terrible. There's arrival delay on all the fish, so it's not smooth. It's too OP as well. They need to remove drift from the game, or like
thank
about
you.
50% at least.
I feel like you're the only skiller that's ever said anything negative. I feel like I'm going crazy sometimes.
Really,
like,
I feel like everyone I talk to hates drift. Like
no, everyone loves it.
Really?
Yes.
Who are you talking to? Because
Saw Kid for one.
Okay, so I think Saw Kid likes drift.
Dude, anybody that likes drift, I worry about their sanity. Like, there's no. And again, the only fair point is that, okay, yes, it's meta. Okay, cool. Like, you just follow where the meta is. That's great. But the method is dog shit. Like, holy fuck.
Yeah, I got 15 minutes in, and I'm like, I cannot do this anymore. Like, it is
same.
awful. But I don't know. Like, almost everyone I talk to says Driftnet sucks. Like, because it removes 2 of probably the best skilling methods. I guess it's 2-tick fishing now, but it was 3-tick barb fishing, which is throughout all of history probably one of the most iconic skilling methods in RuneScape, probably other than like 4G and Black Chins. Like, it removes these 2 insanely cool methods that almost is universally loved by like the skilling community, to replace it with some shitty Driftnet method. And because it's so OP, like you just click the blue square. Like, okay, you don't really like. There's actually a lot of complexity in Driftnet. And I don't know if you've ever talked to Minilinsky about this, but he is probably the best player at it.
Really? I mean, I think we definitely touched on it when I had him on at some point.
Yeah, like he is so good at Driftnet. Like that there is so much to it, but like it doesn't seem at least to me, interesting or worth like learning
No,
because
no.
it's like
The problem is it
you just
feels
click
like
the fish.
shit. Like I
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
can agree. There's probably an insane complexity because there's just fish moving around everywhere, and you probably gotta recognize some weird patterns. But
yeah,
like Jesus Christ, dude, it's just everything is just, and you're underwater. Like God
yeah,
damn, dude, can you make this any worse? By the way,
yeah.
did you ever
Oh,
do
well,
that agility method underwater?
the swimming I
Yeah,
did. I actually don't
that
recall.
shit stressed
I
me
don't think I
out.
disliked it. I
I
think
didn't like it.
it was meta for a short. Well, I don't remember.
It
I
was
remember
meta for a
trying
little
it.
bit. I think it was meta for a little bit. Yeah.
But it was meta before, so I don't know if it was meta when I played, but I
Mm.
remember trying it before, like 90, before I maxed, and I didn't dislike it. It definitely felt frustrating because it's so weird, like the
Yeah.
currents and
I think it's something about being
the
underwater and having air and God, like just all this
it, it
stressful
was
as hell.
weird. Um, it's pretty funny seeing it be like the meta in leagues like currently or whatever.
Mm.
Um,
Oh, yeah,
but
JCW was doing
I
it. I
mean,
saw him.
yeah, I definitely prefer Sep and artifacts. I Sep and like artifacts, such a fun method. Speaking of, they need to make the herblore secondary pouch usable at artifacts.
Dude,
Um,
artifacts are goaded. Like I learned that on my last account on Big Bay.
yeah,
And because I that artifacts was something where, I was already maxed. I'm not really focusing on skilling. And if I ever do thieve, I may as well just do blood shard thieving because it's fucking garbage. I
yeah.
have to upkeep for the end of time. But dude, yeah, it's so chill. It's so goddamn
Uh,
chill. They nailed it.
yeah. I I did a little bit of artifacts when I first started out. I got like 25 mil XP or something, and I kind of didn't really do it for a bit. And then I was doing gem nights as like my zero time whatever.
Hmm.
Um, because gem nights is so good. Like you can get 220k after really after 99 without like the thieving cape. Like thieving's a lot worse. Um, or pickpocketing at least. But I'm just tapping the phone. Like I'm not looking at it for 15 minutes at a time. It was like it was too good of a method to not do. But then I kind of because my plan was to do it 4 gems, cut the gems at Sep, and then I'd be done both skills.
Hmm.
But then I wanted to do Sep. I bought the gems instead because I have so many Tuckle from Inferno, and I also sold a bunch of runes. And then I'm like, oh, may as well do artifacts. And I haven't been yet because I've been waiting for the Herblore pouch to hopefully come. Because I want to do like make the potions and then like decant the potion into 2 dose and make the mixes because you can store like multiple
Ooh.
secondaries. And I think like that would be really fun because like making mixes at the bank stinks. Like because it's like it's as fast as you can click. It's like you can't not do anything or you just like and you can't really upkeep spam clicking for that long
Yeah.
of a period, right? And so the thing with like at the Teaks, the video I had, I try and implement stuff like that, like cutting it because multi skilling it's actually really fun. And so currently what I haven't been doing for the cast, I tried for 5 minutes or 2 minutes, but it was too hard.
Yeah. Good.
Was I've been doing Wintertot. I do the game, teleport to the bank, make mixes until like 70%. Then I teleport back to Wintertot with an inventory of sturgeon, cut the sturgeon, put it in the herbal secondary pouch, take logs out of a log basket, and plank make while I cut the brewer root. And that's been my because plank making sucks as well. So that's like my way of getting through the shitty shitty parts of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah,
What do you know if the run energy changes has made any difference to artifacts?
I think it has. I think. Well, speaking of run engine, I was actually maybe a little bit scared that like because like run engine it's been the same forever, and I was like a little scared. I didn't try the betas because I don't care too
Yeah.
much, but I was like
And betas are
because people
notorious
see
for just,
leagues.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean they have like infinite run
awful.
in leagues. It's just like kind of going in that direction, but
Hmm.
then I just do one farm run and I have 80 run instead of having to hit the pool, and it's like okay, yeah, this is cool. Like, which so it's
Yeah.
like it's like yeah, sometimes like I wasn't like so against it, but I was
Yeah.
like I did see I think like He-Box was like pretty. I remember he had some like video about it, and I was like I can kind of see his point, but I didn't care enough to like
Yeah.
try it
No,
or whatever. But
it feels good. My biggest concern, and like I totally find like the changes they've made are really good. My the thing I was fearful of was just what are you going to do with stams? What are you going to do with the Ring of Endurance?
yeah,
What is the point of run if you get to a certain point?
that's 10 mil now.
That Ring of
I
Endurance,
saw,
holy
yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah. I saw a screenshot of someone buying it for 1 coin, and then they got like 9.8 mil back, and it's like,
Oh man.
fuck. Like that was. I think like they announced run energy change, and it went from like it was 30 mil for the long like years,
Mm-hmm.
and then it went to like low 20s, and now it's 10 mil, and it's like,
It's gonna keep
well,
dropping too.
yeah, like
So
it feels pretty
yeah,
useless.
that's the
Um,
sad part of the run energy changes is you had this
yeah,
really useful potion staminas, which are still useful. Don't get me wrong, they're less useful in a lot of situations.
yeah,
So that gets devalued. Agility just across the board isn't as profitable, which is fine, I guess. But like, I don't know. It's like that was the fear that I had. But it does feel
yeah,
good running around longer, especially doing this early. I still have a bunch of quests to do, and like doing
yeah.
quests, and it's like,
That
damn,
would
I'm
definitely,
running
yeah,
around a lot more. It feels good.
yeah. I mean, the thing with like the Iron Man meta is like stabs aren't worth getting, so it's
Mm.
always well. The rate used to be like 20 mil XP at Arty for stabs, and then do the rest like Sep. But like then it was changed to like you have to use energy potions everywhere, like super energies, which like to be honest, like it's really tedious. Like start
Oh
like
yeah,
I mean
it's awful.
you get used to it like pretty quick, but like being like okay, I need like 100,000 energy potions to get through the game is like okay, well, that's like a lot, and it. I feel like May was a little bit overtuned in the sense that like I feel like the run energy like depletion because you're like while you're like walking and like say a farmer like you're stood still for quite a bit, so you're regenning run for like quite a while, like during the run. So like it has more of an impact than maybe you would realize. Because like I used to have to hit the pool um because of after the Havalmore patch
Mm.
um because that's like quite far away.
Yeah.
You have to run quite a bit, and plus the Mauritania one. So I'd have to hit the pool once, and then I'd probably end a farm run, including contracts, like 50 run. Whereas now I do everything contracts. I'm on 80. It's like, well, that's like quite a big difference. And like people are bringing no stams into CMs anymore. Like on like you touch the pools, and you bring maybe Val Vigor form, and that's like I don't know. You don't need stams, which is big change. Probably probably a good change.
It
Like
is good. I think the
the,
pros outweigh the cons.
it definitely feels weird not bringing us down because like,
Yeah,
you're running
yeah.
so much, and it's
There's
like
I'm actually kind of excited when I eventually go back and play on Sae Bae and go back to the Duke grind. I mean, I was
oh
bringing
yeah,
I think I was bringing 5 staminas every trip, 5 4-dose
yep,
staminas
yep,
every trip because
yep,
I mean I would go crazy on those trips. I'd fucking milk everything, every last drip of everything. And oh yeah, I easily drank like I can't remember exactly how much it was, but easily a drinking like over 800 or so 4-dose stams, just full ass like doing a boss. That feels very odd drinking all those
yeah,
stams, but
yeah,
it might have even been more than that. I can't remember. But yeah, that's gonna feel great. Not using
yeah.
quite as many. You're still probably gonna have to use them here and there, but
I remember doing Duke, and I made all my stamps into mixes because I miscounted. I did the math 3 times. I was like, I'm gonna need this many mixes. I'll put them in my ring or something or whatever. I miscounted bad, and I ended up with way too many mixes
no,
and not
no.
enough regular stamps. And so I just have. I'll search my bank. I have 49 regular stamps and 316 mixes.
Mm,
So I'm pretty poor in the stamp department.
now it doesn't matter as
Um,
much though. It's kind of nice.
yeah. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, I think overall it's been a pretty good change.
it is.
For run energy. And I think I guess one thing we kind of skipped over was the blood shards. What are your thoughts on the blood jelly?
What's that?
You would like it was like a game jam thing and you would like put in like blood related items to like create a jelly, and then you would kill it for a chance at a blood shard.
Wait, you're dumping blood stuff and you make a jelly monster, like, and then you kill the
Yeah,
monster.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I would need to see it. That sounds really bizarre. What, is it
It was
just blood runes?
in the game jam. Blood runes, blood vials. I think there's anything blood related. So
Okay.
basically, buying blood shards in an Iron Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was the TLDR, and I don't know if you think that's good, that's bad, or
I
what's
think
the...
like there's probably a variety of different paths you can go down. I think that's a bit convoluted. I think the best form was just make it so there's an Onyx sync, and so make it so the Onyx charges it with 5k, and also make it so
Yeah.
the Amulet of Blood Fury can hold up to 100,000 charges instead of just 30k.
Oh yes,
Which is
that would be good.
Yeah, like just because then you're offering the chance to just buy it. Like if you really don't want to deal with this shit, if you have a rich Iron Man, you can just buy these Onyxes if you want. Boom, there you go. It's kind of obnoxious, but you just use that. And the other thing was like I was a huge fan of, you know, I'm generally extremely against any sort of buffed rate for being on task. I think the 5x like increased drop chances are fucking stupid across the board.
On Vias?
No. I'm just saying in Slayer in general. Like just
Okay, right. Yeah,
getting your Basilisk Jaw and just you can't do it off
Oh,
task.
yeah.
Getting your Dragon Harpoons one in it's a fucking Visage rate. Like Jesus, this is a fucking
Yeah.
Dragon Harpoon, dude. Anyway,
I feel like it's an interesting idea to try, but doing it over and over and over is...
I just don't like
Yeah.
it because you're already getting the benefit of getting Slayer XP and more DPS. Like why are you making the disparity even crazier? Like let people do off task shit. It's already shit. You're already doing it off task. It already feels like garbage. Now you're making it feel 5 times worse. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, so but I did think, okay, vampire tasks are pretty rare, and this would actually be a situation where I would be okay with a 5x multiplier on getting a vampire task and then go in and get your blood shards that way.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
then, you know, because a lot of it's just flooding the market. A lot of bots and gold farmers doing it. And
Yeah.
if you just had it a task based, then it's like, okay, you feel good about it.
Yeah, I think like if boss didn't exist, Blood Fury would be like so expensive, and I think it would still be worth it at like even if it's 30 mil for a shard. Like you're still... Blood Fury is too OP.
It's so OP.
They snuck in that item at 1% healing, and I'm pretty sure Unpolled changed it to 6%, which is absurd. Like, that item is so strong, and it's like, it's good for... Because it ups the ceiling of PVM. Like, if you look at Inferno, people bring in, what, 7-way melee switches now? They bring in a Blood Fury, no bruise. Like, so it kind of ups the ceiling in that sense, but it also kind of takes away, I think, from just generally doing the content, because you back on the Blood Fury, you brain off, you just hit things, and you're generally fine. And the item should not be as strong as it is, definitely.
I think
But
we've already accepted, like, it's in the game. It's been in here for years, so there's no taking it out. And at this point, I'm like, dude, make it so when you get an Onyx from Zulrah, you get an Onyx from Tecton, it feels good. You can charge up your Blood Fury a little bit with 5k. You can still go and thieve your blood shards. By the way, I think just thieving them, it should not be a 1 in 5,000. I think that was a ridiculous call. I mean, that the enhanced teleport crystals are 1 in 1,000. Like, why is this 1 in 5,000? I mean, they could reduce that the same thing they did with, or increase it. They could do what they did with the Dragon Warhammer. Make it 1 in 3,000. Make it more reasonable.
Yeah.
Make it so it's not 1 in 1,500 from a Sentinel. Make it so it's 1 in 1,000. Ban the fucking bots. That's another thing.
yeah,
It's just
that would be a good one, hey.
But then, you know, maybe on task, change it. So I don't know about the jelly thing. I think that's, again, just a bit convoluted. Just feels weird. It feels like Scar Essency.
Really hate the jelly idea. I like the idea with Onyxes from drops, but like you can just buy Onyxes, and I'm not really a fan of buying Blood Fury charges. I think
okay
Blood
with
Fury
it
in
at this
general.
point.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't really like it. I think the item is so strong that people go out of their way on Iron Man to get it, and it's like it's never worth doing. People hate getting Blood Furies, but they do it anyway because it's just so OP. But it's like, I mean, me personally, I as a skiller with Infinite Brews, I can get away with not using a Bloodfury anywhere. Like all of our Dorvis, I would just bring 15 brews, and I would just get more kills an hour than anyone with a Bloodfury because I just have Infinite Brews. And a lot of PVMers are probably allergic to bird runs and herb runs, but you know.
What is your brew stack, by the way?
Let me have a look.
I mean,
I have 4K 3 dose, 26K 4 dose, and
Iron Man just drooling.
50,000 unfinished potions and 2,500 seeds. So a lot.
Fuck.
Yeah.
What's your craziest stack? Like the top 3 like craziest stacks on your account? That is like useful kind of stuff, like brews, like that kind of caliber.
I mean, my Blood and Soul Rune stacks were really big just because. So I bought. I did Slay before ZMI was really a thing, so I had to buy all my runes. And then I just got a whole bunch of passive from ZMI. So I had 1.6 mil Blood and Soul Runes each.
Oh.
I sold a few because I need the money. But I mean, to me, it's like kind of whatever. Like I just have them. Like a lot of people, like if I go in like a party or something on RuneLine, they see like they always point out the rune stack, and it's like, you know, to me, it's like not really anything. But and so to be honest, quick tangent. I wouldn't mind infinite scythe charges if I could pay 1-2 million blood runes, infinite scythe charges, and the same for shadow. I mean, most people don't have 2 million spare blood runes, but I feel like because that's like what 800-900 hours of content. Like I could, if it's as expensive enough that like you're not going to make your money out of it for almost any player, I think it's fine.
I disagree with unlimited charges. I've always been against that. I think the best route to go down is just increase the capacity. So make it so shadows 100,000.
I mean, that's definitely good as well. Yeah.
And then also, I don't like the scythe like well thing. You have 2 ingredients to charge it like that. That whole system. Never do that ever again, please. Like,
yeah, I mean, having to like I loan like some of the mains gear out every now and then to friends because like I don't really use it. And it's always like, hey, make me the top bang because I have to uncharge the scythe there. It's like, like okay, yeah, it's a little bit tedious, but
it is. So, and I feel like most of the time when people want infinite stuff, it's not even necessarily about the infinite. It's just about convenience. They just want maximum convenience. And for me,
I think like it's hard to justify. I mean, maybe now that it's cheaper, it's like it's hard to justify using the scythe someplace because it's like it's expensive, and if most players don't have 1 trillion blood runes, it's like I could use my scythe here, but it's not worth it because it's like it's so expensive, and it's like I guess like there should be a trade-off for using such a powerful weapon, but like a million charges, like I don't know, because I feel like people would do that. They'd go out of their way to make an untradeable scythe or an infinite scythe, but like it wouldn't be worth it. So like, I personally wouldn't care, but like I'm not like, oh, we need this in the game. Like I don't. It doesn't matter too much either way. It's
weird how we've kind of gotten to this point because like I've asked this question several times over the years, like, you know, would it have been appropriate for the scythe to come out as an uncharged thing where it is just the scythe as the charged version, but uncharged, it doesn't have anything. And people universally were like, no, that would be way too OP, like especially for the time period, like Jesus Christ, like that's inappropriate. And now we're getting to the point where it's like people just expect like mega rare go burr. It needs to just be dirt cheap. It needs to be like the thing that everyone uses. In my opinion, I think that's just complete backwards like game balancing. Like there's a reason things should be expensive. Look at the blowpipe. Like not everyone can use the highest level darts. It's like it would be so cool actually if there was even a higher tier of dragon darts, you know, or of darts, like some like abyssal darts that are really fucking rare. Only the super rich ass people can use it. You're just like literally burning money. Just something like 50K per dart or something. But again, like, and that's even besides the point. But I think things that are powerful need to be very expensive. I think that's just how it should be. And like the charging should be expensive. I was actually against the shadow being so dirt cheap, even though people freaked out at me because they're like, oh, I'm empty of soul runes and you want it to be buffed. I'm like, dude, this is the most powerful weapon ever. Like, this is fucking OP.
the Shadow is so strong, but like obviously, like most Iron Man players, like they don't skill, so it's like for them, it's like it kind of feels really bad. I wouldn't really care if it's uncharged or if it's expensive because I could use it for infinite amounts of time.
Yeah.
Um, but I can kind of like empathize with people who are like, oh, I've got this super strong weapon, but I can't use it. Um,
And I think that's balanced, though. I think it's a balanced
yeah,
move to you early on in your game experience just get the most powerful thing and you can just use it freely. Like, no, this is completely
yeah,
backwards for MMOs. Like, you're supposed to be at that point where you're a giga chat at the game and now you can use the most powerful shit because this stuff's
yeah.
expensive.
Do you do you recall was it three soul runes for originally or what was the? I
No,
feel
it's
like
just
they reduced the cost.
it's always been 2 soul runes, 5 chaos.
Well, when it was like first like I created or
Uh
whatever, I feel like it was more expensive,
it might
but
have
I don't remember.
it might have been, and I would have just been a fan had it just been like soul runes, like just like whatever. I would have even said 5 soul runes per cast, and that's it. It's a fucking
Yeah,
soul rune eater. This is what it is. It's 1 soul rune per tick, basically.
yeah,
And optimally, I would have loved it if the scythe was either just vials of blood or just blood runes, something where it's just simple. You don't have to go to a well. You just load it in.
yeah. I mean, Shadow is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, okay. To be fair, I think people don't give the scythe enough credit. It is in terms of raw DPS numbers. I mean, maybe I haven't paid too much attention to like the gear nowadays, but I'm pretty sure it far outclasses the other weapons in terms of low defense monsters. Like it is so strong. But then they buffed it. They gave it more accuracy.
Yeah.
They've had the min hit was so strong for Scythe, with the 3 hit splats. Melee gears like gotten so much better. But like they keep introducing high defense bosses, and it pisses me off. Like high defense that you can't reduce,
Yeah.
and it feels so shit. It's like I'm hidden Duke. Well, I guess you can, but like it's what 275 defense, and it can't go below 200. Like that is absurd. Like give me like a boss. Well, I mean, I guess they had Nightmare, like kind of like high HP pool, but like low defense feels so good because you're not too incentivized to bring spec reduction. Like it feels worth bringing like a claws or a void waker, but you also hit the boss. Like I don't know if you did next on release, but you had like 35% accuracy, and it felt like shit. Like, you
Yeah,
never
it's
hit the
horrible.
boss.
Horrible.
It's awful. Um,
Yeah,
so
those
yeah.
bosses suck ass. Yeah, you want to hit stuff.
Well, actually, next nowadays with the Fang, I actually think. I mean, Nex is one of those really jank bosses. And a lot of like, I got really lucky at Nex. I greenlogged, I think it's like 1,200 char. Well, no, I didn't get the pet, but I got the items, and that's
Bro, that's
like that's
insane. I was
absurd RNG.
2,600 or something in a green logger.
Yeah, but actually, one of the most enjoyable PVM experiences I think was dueling Nex because it's pretty complex, and it's like, obviously it's jank and it's like, oh, it's a bruise simulator, but like, there's so much you can do to improve Nex, and like,
Yeah.
I was doing no Blood Fury Nex in a duo with my friends. Like it was
No,
honestly fun.
shit's fun.
Like
It is fun doing next. Like
but
I
a lot of people
always
are scared of trying because it's bruise and it's Blood Fury and it's not fun. But I think if you really give it a shot, it's good.
I think one of the sad parts is it's just like teams. So, you know, I'm lucky to be like a content creator where it's just kind of like if
Oh
I
yeah,
ever wanted
yeah,
to do next, I could just try to form a team. And if I was doing like 4-man next, oh, it was so fun. So much fun. It was a good time and just relaxing. I loved the 1 kill trip vibes where I'm not having to like juggle supplies or just like, oh shit,
yeah.
can I even get this kill? And no, just the 1 kill, really chill. Yeah, no, I think Nex is there's something special about Nex where it's so basic. It's not like I don't know. It's just it has like its classic mechanics. You can do step unders, and that feels
Yeah.
good. I hate how they're going the direction where you like step under bosses and they can still hit you. I hate that. So stupid. They're doing that with a lot of
Step under a
bosses.
boss in it. Is there a boss in mind that it's specifically?
Scurrius does it. Scurrius can still hit you
Oh
while you're
right,
underneath.
right.
Hydra can hit you when you're underneath it.
Oh
Again,
yeah,
it's not like
yeah.
it matters that much in Hydra, but then you
I guess
have
Verzik as well.
Yeah, there's just a lot of different. I mean, Verzik at least you can step under and it won't do the melee attack on you. But
Yeah,
like,
I just didn't know off the top of my head any
yeah, I'm trying
ones
to.
that happened.
There's,
But
there's several others right now. I'm trying to think of. Yeah, but anyway, they're kind of going down this weird direction where like they're trying to like reduce the sort of creativity. And I always hear, I want to get your take on this. Like people are like, oh, KQ is the most dog shit thing. Don't get me wrong. There's a problem with KQ having 100% unavoidable accuracy. That's an issue. I think that's really silly. But I love, and there's other issues with KQ. One of them is being, why is the boss on the other side of the room? Like, can we just make it so this cave is smaller or something and just have it so it's just in here? And
like co-op, right? Like yeah, that cave used to be absurd. Like,
I mean, I'm still pissed off at Corp because Corp's in the very end of the room.
I mean, it's still
it's
still
bad.
It's depending on where it walks to, but
yeah,
like
if it would spawn by the entrance and then it lured more toward the entrance all the time, like that, it's fine if you kept the cave, but yeah, KQ has its own issues. But one of the things I like is that it's just very classic. It's just like you bash it, it bashes you, and you just kill it. And there's step unders, you can do ring switches. I love the fact that you can use like thralls and vengeance and a ring of suffering and your ultor and just if you wanted to. Okay, it's just shadow meta now, unfortunately. But like you still do the ring switches, which is cool, and the step unders feel good. Ugh, I just.
Yeah, KQ is
don't
it's a rough
try to
boss,
script it. Like don't script it. As soon as you start doing the scripting bosses, it's just
yeah. I feel like the best things in this game are unintentional because it's like well, I feel like I had an example off the top of my head, but like the players like figure out it's not like, hey, this is what it is and you do this exactly as we intended. It's like, hey, the players have complete creative freedom to play around with mechanics, and they may be jank, but like it's I feel like generally the most interesting piece of content to come from not accidents, but like not intentional design choices. Like tormented demons, sorry, like the defense or something, like after a certain amount of time, like reduced or what, like then they tried to like patch it out and just like reduce the HP. It's like, why? Like it's like an interesting mechanic. Like why get rid of it? And I think they changed their mind and didn't go back on it. But yeah,
they had almost patched like Akka Butterfly as well.
I actually don't like that. I
fucking love it, dude. Well, you never had a shadow, so you're probably just
guilty. Well, I remember so doing T-Way like on release, like they introduced like the kits and stuff.
Yeah,
and I did all the kits like the week release except the fan kit because you couldn't really do a sang that the first week. And so I did the 450s and it was I uploaded I think one of them to YouTube and it was no butterfly / like cringe method or something because like I hated butterfly.
You're saying. Oh no! Doing normal Akka is cringe as fuck. Holy shit!
I was like doing like gear switches for, like the defense and like stuff like.
Don't get me wrong. There's more going on, but it's not fun. It's just like God damn, this is awful.
Like I mean, butterfly nowadays it's like it's kind of whatever, but like it kind of felt in the moment it's like you're just running around the room and you're skipping all the mechanics. Like I didn't really like that, but. I don't really like most of Toa.
Yeah, so. No, Toa's got some issues, but it just reminds me of Chambers Ulm. You are just completely avoiding all of Ulm's mechanics, and you're turning Ulm into your fucking bitch. Like you're my bitch now. You can't do anything. It's the same thing with Akka. That shit feels so good. Like it just feels.
Well, I think like with like there's definitely a lot like based on like when it does its special, you like run to different tiles like to not lose. So I think like now like with a shadow, I'd probably enjoy it a lot more. But just sitting there with a sang like didn't feel great.
Yeah.
Especially because like you can't really sang the fucking the shadows. It sucks. Like so you have to like go out of the butterfly and
doing 4 tick is awful, and then losing DPS and doing a 5 tick is awful.
Yeah. Well, there was a 4 tick.
Yeah, it's more intense though. I've seen people do it. Yeah, but I like it when there's Again, I think it's case by case, but generally speaking, when you just can avoid mechanics, if you're tick perfect doing something and you can avoid mechanics, it's a great feeling.
Yeah.
E-
I definitely think I cared a lot more like when I was doing the sang, but yeah, probably nowadays I'd
Yeah.
be a little less inclined to hate on it, but yeah, because I thought they'd patch it. I thought they'd get rid of it, and I was
Yeah, no,
like,
it
oh,
was about
I'm
to.
gonna have so much fun when they patch it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, I like, I don't know. I like the kind of dancing bosses where you're just dancing around. That's what makes solo Olm so fun. Just dancing. It's a waltz, just
Yeah.
doing your thing. And if you remain in cycle, no damage taken, balling out.
Solo is such a nice cycle.
It
Like
is.
I haven't done it in so long.
Me
Like it's been
neither,
years.
honestly.
Well, I've probably done a few raids here or there, but like
Same.
I haven't grinded raid
Yeah,
in
yeah, that
years.
was
Because I mean,
like,
I've had Tebow for 6, 7 years or something. Like I don't
yeah, yeah.
have
I
a reason to
was
go back.
I was a 20 KC TiVo. You're 25.
Oh,
So,
you beat me. Fuck.
yeah. I even got
Actually, funny
I got,
enough,
yeah.
I sorry.
No, you're good.
I saw one on the main at 25 as well. Not in my name, but
Damn, 25, your lucky
yeah,
number. Dude,
twice. Yeah.
I feel, do you feel like you have lucky numbers in this game? Like just numbers that reoccur and you're like, whoa, like that's odd. Like to pull a drop on a certain KC. I'm 25
I
sounds like
don't.
it.
I mean, it's definitely a coincidence, but like I
For
yeah, I'm
me,
not superstitious or anything. Or
yeah, I'm not superstitious, but
yeah,
I've noticed there's some numbers. For me, it's 20, 38, and 83. So like
right.
for some reason these numbers 38 and 83 they kind of like for some reason those KCs I've seen pop up like 38 for me originally on Sae Bae was when I got my tacits, also when I got my KQ head. It's
Oh yeah.
a few other things, and then the 83 was like I got Lil Leviathan, I got my Inquisitor's Mace, which is just funny. And then 20, I got my Jar of Stone and my Tebow, of course. So it's like these just big things where it just lands on this number, and it's happened twice. I don't think I'm trying to think if there's been another situation where it's landed that again. But again, not superstition or anything, but I've noticed these little numbers
Yeah,
that have
yeah.
appeared a couple times.
Jar Stones are that's the Gargoyle one, right?
Yeah. 1 in
that
5K.
one's yeah. Surely that was an accident, right?
No, they're just psychopaths. That was back when they would just make
yeah.
psychopathic rates for no reason.
God, I never did that boss on release, but
Mhm.
I heard stories about it, and
Dude, I just remember the person that designed the intro of it when you rang the bell and you had to like
oh
watch the
yeah, you
gargoyles.
couldn't skip.
Yeah, it's like no, you have to watch. You have to watch what
But
he made.
like the first like 5, you still have to, right? Like
Yeah, the first one, I think.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
yeah. Jar of Dark, dude. I think. Have you gone very dry on something before? Like very dry. Like I
Very
went.
dry.
I went 874 dry for an unsired at one point. Not my first one, but in between two.
That's ridiculous. Oh, have I gone dry? I mean, I haven't PVM'd in so long. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I kind of beat PVM more or less, and then started skilling. Have I gone dry? I've definitely gone lucky.
That's
I feel
clear.
like I mean
The fact that you
yeah.
can't even answer if you've gone dry makes it is very telling.
I remember I feel like in my head like that there's been some play I just can't remember. Oh, I get well, not for a certain drop, but I have I think it's like 7.5, 8,000 sub, and I have like 4 prims. I think I'll check.
That's pretty shit.
7,600, and I have 4 prims.
Is that all post log?
Yes. So my plan was kill 80k sub for the crystals for mining. I didn't get very far. I love sub. It's such a fun boss. But I was like,
It's good.
a part of the macro efficient aspect of skilling was like,
Yeah.
it's efficient to kill sub. Well, it's very close because of the melee XP. I think there's like a pretty good bonus rate. Plus, it has very low defense, and I have max gear. So it was like, it was very close to being efficient to killing Serb, and I was like, well, hey, I may as well. You get wines, you get these crystals that'll help with mining, but then I was like, I'm gonna start work soon. I'm gonna need like Nightmare Zone time, and so I was like, I didn't really want to give up that melee XP.
Yeah.
lo and behold, I've done like probably less than 100 hours of zone in the last year and the bit while I've been working, and I probably won't finish I have 100 more mile XP to go, and I'm running out of time. So
Damn.
I might PVM to finish the game, which would be weird.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Especially, it sounded like on your ramble you're gonna have plenty of clearance as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if I'm like competing for like rank 9 or rank 9 is the best I can get. Um, assuming Dids doesn't finish. And it'd be nice to get like a single digit rank, but like I haven't played. I started way too late to really care. Like if it comes down to that, I'll just chally next off task or something more efficient. But
Yeah.
if I can take my time, I wouldn't mind. Yeah, just PVM and Forbidden, chilling out, because like there's no one really behind me really. If I can't beat Zeke and Cosine, then I'll have a bit of time. So
I guess just to wrap that last thing off, sometimes I think of these, 5K jar of stone. Like there will be a person that goes 40K for it. Like,
yep,
there just will. Like if you're really caring about getting that, like that is so ridiculous. Like come on.
Did you see Ginny's corp log?
I haven't seen the log, but we were talking about it on Creel and
19K. Oh my god,
yeah. Dude! And the thing is, 19K is not even the craziest you could get. That's all, and that's not even 4x rate. I mean, it's still insane. Don't get me wrong. I
think in terms of like hours, it's probably the most dry in terms of hours. But in terms of like just rate itself, like there's definitely people have gone way over rate for just stuff like that.
It's crazy when you think of these big ticket items like going dry. I mean, I remember using that Discord bot simulator thing. We just like plus finish corp or whatever, and I would just spam that when I was bored. And I just remember there was one time where I completed corp at like 47,000 or something, just fucking absurd. And then
that's gonna be me.
No, I mean that is the fear of like pet hunting. You just like can, and then on top of that, you see like these amazing items that most people want that are iconic. And even if you're a giga gamer, you can get fucked so hard. Like if you wanted to go for a Tebow and you were just one of those, 1 in 100,000 people that just goes extremely unlucky, like you're just never going to get it. You're just not, unless you grind for a decade.
I know a few people that have gone over 4K solo raids.
Yeah, it's happening. It'll happen more and more and more over the years too, just because of how absurd it is.
I was actually in, so like, I don't know, like Polynomial, I think he went like a 4K or something, and then one of my other, like, I think Olympus Leader, so Nex, we were in a Olympus Bingo, and we were doing like 10-man raids, and I was in that raid when he got the Tebow on like 4.5K, and I was like, I couldn't imagine what it'd be like to be him, but like, even just being there in the raid was kind of crazy. Like, that's so many raids, like, and it's not even that unlikely. I think one of my friends went a bit over 7 times dry on the needle from Guardians of the Rift, which is like it happens. It's like not too long of a time, but it's like closer from when you started, and it feels pretty hopeless when you get even like 1.5, 2 times over the rate. Like
that hopelessness is brutal. That's what the mace started feeling like for me.
How many nightmare did you go?
I did 2,900 solo nightmares. I think my normal nightmare KC is like 3,300 or something.
Right.
A couple hundred were just sporadic teams that I would occasionally do, and then another couple hundred were some like helping, or one of my chat viewers would come in for the first half, help out, and then leave.
Oh yeah.
Rarely happened, but toward the end they were kind of helping out. One guy in particular, shout out Farming Bud, but
shout out.
Yeah, no, but like 2,900 just straight up solos. I'm talking the whole run there, the whole buying blood.
Oh yeah, but before the
there's no sleepy tablet. It's
the run will be fun, guys.
Like I need to just, I always want to say this because I feel like it's not documented properly. Like people have a false view of what Nightmare truly was.
Yeah,
Like
it was absurd.
there was no good drops. The best drop you could possibly get that wasn't a unique was like 5 3-dose Sandfuse. Nowadays you can get it's like
Yeah.
500 blood runes or something. Like no, it's just the typical drop you're getting is like 18
Bass.
fucking bass, yeah, or something. Just
Yeah.
dog shit. And then the kills were, even with max gear, you're probably banking on 16, 17-minute kills. I think my fastest ever was like a 14:10, which was ridiculous.
Yeah, well, because before Shadow as well, right? Like,
yeah,
that Shadow was so
I
big.
did do like 50 mil Winter Todd to grind out burnt pages when I got my harm. I was buying blood runes at 600 GP each because I couldn't be fucked to compete, so I just go to the wilderness. I spent over a bill just buying blood runes, bill raw cash. And then
Rough.
every goddamn kill you run there, and then there was this
3
period
minutes.
of months where there's bots on every world. So I'd run there, hop
Oh,
through a bunch of fucking worlds, try to find an empty world, then get crashed by some motherfucker right as the kill's about to start, leave. Just dog shit like that. And then if you ever died, it was run all the way back, gather your stuff, and then go back, and then run all the way back and restart it. Bro, and then I was using like 9 Phoenix necklaces a kill. So the whole thing is a chip damage fest. You're not taking zeros, you're taking 1s through 6s the whole fight. And so I was camped at 20 HP the entire time, just procking Phoenix necklaces. And I'd bring like a Sandfew and a prayer pot, and I was one tick flicking for 17 minutes straight.
Yeah, I think I remember that was like kind of when I first started like skilling, and I remember like watching you. 'Cause I think like you were in Olympus as well or something back then. And I was kind of paying attention to like the people there, and I was like, I like came across this, and I'm like, this is absurd. Like,
dude, it was horrific. Like my mental health was deteriorating in real life. Like by the day.
I definitely kind of had that mental thing with TOA. Nowhere near as bad as the dry streak you went on. Like I didn't even go 2 times raid, but I was dreading going into the next raid. I like I'm like I kind of play probably even more like perfect, like push to play more perfect in PVM than I do skilling. And so I would rarely have a team raid or like because people they take their time between raids or whatever, and then I would just go in solo, and that's fine for 100, 200 raids, and then it starts to wear at you. And it's like, I was raiding with people on American worlds. Like, I was off ping, I was with I was not doing the invocations I want. I just something to go in. And I was like, I couldn't just stop because I felt I needed the item, and that was rough.
Yeah.
But definitely not as bad as the Ink Mace.
Dude,
but
did you ever see I don't know if you know who Barrows Bob is. It was the last league, so not this one, but the previous one.
Is it the 150 Shadow or for the
yeah, it was like the 100, I think it was like 120 something raids or so. He went like 5x rate for a Shadow in leagues.
In leagues, yeah. The league would be over by the time you get it. Like,
no, it was literally like it was like fucking New Year's Eve. He finally pulls it or something. Just like, bruh, that is fucked.
Yeah, I would not be happy if that was me. Luckily, I'm not a leagues player, so I will never have to worry about that.
Me neither.
I've tried it. It's not my thing, but
same.
It's definitely very popular among a lot of players.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of surprised to see it, like, because we had them last year, right? Oh, I guess 2023 and then 2024. I was like, they're really going to do it again. Maybe it's too early, but yeah, it seemed like a lot of people enjoyed it. So
yeah, people go hard on it. That's for sure. I almost kind of wish there was a part of me that enjoyed that aspect of it because I do like competition, and you too. I mean, there's just something about it. Just it's
just an achievement diary, and it feels like, why would I? Like the league I did play, didn't have a scythe in the main, so I was like, why the fuck would I do it on leagues when I can just do Tob in the main game and get a scythe that I can keep? And it's like, well,
like there's that element, and then there's the element of like this doesn't even feel like RuneScape to some extent. It's just like task man mode, just do 1,000 tasks and just running around everywhere like an ant. It's just so stressful. Like it's stress inducing.
It's a rush for a week, but it's Yeah.
The law is not for me. I understand why it's for people
No.
though. Okay,
Yeah.
well, Poppy, I think we've been going for a while, almost 3.5 hours. So I'm gonna wrap things up here. But this was fucking great, man. This was a great cast. It was lovely talking this evening, and
Yeah.
gonna have your links down in the description of the video. So if you guys want to check out his Twitch and YouTube, and I'll have your Twitter down there as well. Anything
Yeah.
else?
If you want to see the Mixology tweets.
Yeah, go
um,
browse all his
yeah.
replies.
Yeah, it's always a good read because the updates like right before I go to bed. So I launch the tweet and then I wake up to like 20 messages and I'm like, fuck. But yeah, probably nothing else. No, I really appreciate you having me on. It's always nice to talk about RuneScape with people that also as passionate and love the game as much.
Yeah, I'm with you
Otherwise, just
there.
shout out Yeet Cord and yeah.
Cool. Yeah, no, we'll have to do this again, and maybe even get like a group cast going with some other super Iron Man gamers. I always love the Iron Man conversations because I am an Iron Man, so I relate to it
Yeah,
very
yeah.
much. So
You
yeah.
gotta have one of the free to play players. You should get on. Like there's so many.
Mhm. I've had a few of
But
them on,
also
but it's been years.
yeah, I think Glad's the fish as well. He is
Mm.
probably bringing skilling back. I think because skilling plans were in a bit of a lull, and he's stepped up quite a bit, and I think he's doing really good things for the community. If you'd like to come on, so shout out Glads. But yeah,
Awesome. Yeah,
no, I
great.
appreciate the chat. It's always nice.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure, and thanks for the suggestion. All right, guys, if you want to support the podcast, there's a Patreon link and a YouTube membership link down in the description. Get your name on the title screen. And next week we're gonna have 2 more casts. So we're busy this month with pumping out the casts, but hope you guys have been enjoying them. And thank you again, Faye Poppy, for coming on today.
Thanks very much for having me.
All right, guys, we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.